Chapter 45-32. Hee, if you dare to do anything, don't blame me for destroying these 2 stone statues. Hee. Lin Lingyun chuckled. What seemed like a casual statement was like a needle that pierced into everyone's heart and made them feel as if their hearts were being cut by a knife. How dare you? The orthodoxies were enraged, and their killing intent was obvious. Xian Wuba took a step forward. If Lin Ling dared to lay a finger on the primogenitor statue of the immortal spirit hegemon nation, Xian Wuba and Lei Gong would be irreconcilable. Lei Gong Lin Ling, do you really want to fight to the death? Maha-Orthodoxy said coldly, how about this? The Cataclysm Holy Land will let you leave, but you must not destroy the primogenitor statue. Hee, do you think I'm stupid? As soon as I leave this place, all of you will swarm me. Lin Ling was not going to fall for it. How cunning. In fact, that was exactly what the orthodoxies were thinking. Do you really want to drag this out? Let me tell you, the more time you spend here, the more dangerous your void of the 9 prefectures will be. Nobody knows what kind of powerful enemies will attack your void of the 9 prefectures. For example, the chief of the Ox Demon clan in the Ear Ox Cave, the divine overlord of the Yu continent, and so on. That's right, this is our territory. We can afford to drag this out. The orthodoxies suddenly spoke again, their faces filled with cold sneers. Lin Ling's eyes flashed. He could not deny that these old foxes were very thoughtful. He could not afford to drag this out forever. Moreover, he could sense that these orthodoxies were watching him closely. As soon as he showed the slightest weakness, they would swarm him and not give Lin Ling the slightest chance to fight back. This meant that Lin Ling had to be alert at all times to fight against these old monsters. How can the Dragon Valley miss out on such a lively scene? However, at this moment, in the sky far away, countless ancient dragon deities roared and howled. Their auras were enormous. The Dragon Tribe. When the orthodoxies turned their heads to look, their expressions instantly turned ugly. Originally, they had the upper hand in the negotiation with Lin Ling, but who knew that the Dragon Clan would interfere? As a result, Lin Ling had more bargaining chips, and they could not easily touch Lin Ling. Rumble. In the skies above, millions of dragon gods were tumbling about. They were faintly discernible and beautiful. Among them, there was a gigantic dragon with the longest dragon whiskers. Its eyes were fixed on the ground. Then, with a tremble of its body, it transformed into an old man and walked down slowly. He was the dragon god of the Dragon Valley. Lei Gong Lin Ling. The dragon god looked at Lin Ling as he walked down. Lin Ling nodded at him, telling him that he had accomplished his goal. Dragon god, are you really going to interfere in this matter? Looking at the old man walking down, Maha-Orthodoxy was enraged. Although the Dragon Tribe could not be compared to the godly land of the Broken Territory, they were not to be trampled on. Now that they had joined forces with Lei Gong, their strength was not to be underestimated. Lei Gong Lin Ling has the bloodline of the Dragon Tribe. He's considered a member of the Dragon Valley. How can we not help him when he's in trouble? The Dragon God said calmly. Old fox. The orthodoxies cursed. If Lei Gong Lin Ling was an ordinary person, they believed that the Dragon Tribe would not help him. Therefore, the Dragon God's words were even better than a song. It's useless even if you help him. Do you think the Dragon Valley alone is a match for the Broken Territory? Xian Wuba immediately said. Indeed, we are no match for you. However, if we really fight, you won't have any advantage either. The Dragon God said with a smile. He then looked at the progenitor stone statue behind him and said, moreover, no one can guarantee that the progenitor stone statue will be intact in a battle between the gods. Oh, I heard rumors that your progenitor stone statue seems to be faking his death. I wonder if his death will become real if the statue is destroyed. How dare you? The orthodoxies were even more furious now. Save your threats. You only have one choice now. Let us leave, and I promise not to touch a single hair on your progenitor stone statue. The dragon god was not afraid at all and said again. Impossible. This Lei Gong caused a ruckus in the broken territory and killed our disciples. If he leaves just like that, what face will the 10 orthodoxies have? The gods and Buddhas will laugh at us. That's right. He also killed 1,000,000 soldiers of our immortal spirit hegemony nation. I, immortal hegemony nation, am a god from the age of gods. If a rising star steps on my head, even if I don't care about face, our immortal spirit hegemony nation does. The orthodoxies and Xian Wuba spoke up, unwilling to let Lin Ling leave in peace. So, there's no room for negotiation. The dragon god narrowed his eyes. If this continues, we can only wait and see who can outlast the other. Although the Dragon Valley had mobilized all of its dragon gods, the punctured divine soil still had more dragon gods. If they were to clash with the punctured divine soil head-on, the Dragon Valley would definitely suffer heavy casualties. Thus, unless it was absolutely necessary, the Dragon Valley didn't want to fight to the death with the punctured divine soil. Let's wait and see. We're not afraid of you. On the broken territory side, everyone was going all out. They were not afraid of the Dragon Valley. What they were most afraid of was the progenitor stone statue being destroyed. For a moment, the 2 overlords of the void in the Kaiyuan River were competing with each other in patience, fighting spirit, and will. They wanted to see who could outlast the other. As long as one side surrendered first, they would definitely be attacked with all their might by the other side. All right. If this continues, we don't know how long it'll take. It'll only benefit the spirit nation. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. Lin Ling, who had been silent all this time, slowly spoke up. Lei Gong Lin Ling, are you planning to surrender? Hearing Lin Ling's words, the orthodoxies could not help but laugh. What kind of joke is this? Surrender to a bunch of old monsters like you? You might as well just kill me. I just think that our negotiations can go another way. Lin Ling said disdainfully. He turned around and looked at the giant stone statue behind him. If I have a way to awaken your progenitor, I wonder if you'll let me leave as a reward? Impossible. As soon as Lin Ling finished speaking, the orthodoxies roared. The progenitor stone statue had been here for 30 million years. It was so long that it could be traced back to the end of the era of the gods. However, it was not that the broken territory had not tried to awaken the progenitor, but in the end, it was to no avail. At some point, they even thought that the progenitor was dead. Now, a rising star was boasting that he had a way to awaken the progenitor. What bullshit! Even if this rising star was from the era of the gods, they would not believe it. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean that I can't. It's just awakening a statue. How difficult do you think it is? Lin Ling said again. Nonsense. You're boasting shamelessly. Do you know why the primogenitor became a statue? It's not difficult. You're good at bragging. The Maha Orthodoxy said disdainfully. Chapter 45-33. What? How did you know? When Lin Ling finished speaking, the orthodoxies were stunned. My world is not something you can understand. Perhaps I am even older than all of you. Lin Ling looked up at the sky and said calmly. His words silenced the orthodoxies, as if this was the first time they had met Lei Gong Lin Ling. Could it be that Lin Ling was also a god from the age of Pantheon? You're misleading the public with your lies. Suddenly, Xian Wuba shouted, I have checked Lin Ling. He is not from the age of Pantheon, but from a small realm called the Rainforest Sacred Land. My friends, I think he is just trying to buy time. Don't fall for it. You're indeed trying to mislead the masses with your lies. The orthodoxies suddenly realized that they no longer believed in Lin Ling. Lin Ling was still not afraid. He said, how about this? If I can awaken your primogenitor, this matter will end here. If I fail, I will tell you the whereabouts of the world will stone tablet. What do you think? Are you serious? Maha Orthodoxy's eyes lit up. Brother Maha, he is full of tricks. Don't fall for it. In my opinion, we should fight it out with him and see who comes out on top. Daoist Xian Wuba, Maha Orthodoxy said. I know you hate Legong for killing millions of gods, but don't forget our mission. The will of the world is more important. Maha Orthodoxy looked at Xian Wuba and said, Daoist Xian Wuba, I know you hate Legong to the bone. But... Xian Wuba wanted to say something, but Maha Orthodoxy stopped him. Even the ancient gods from the Chaos Realm were curious about the host of the Seventh World will, let alone these orthodoxies. Therefore, if they had the chance to know this secret, they would not lose out. Even if Lin Ling succeeded, they would be the ones benefiting from it. When the primogenitor woke up, he might even help them kill Lin Ling. Therefore, no matter which choice they made, they would not lose out. Of course it's true. At this moment, Lin Ling nodded. All right, I promise you. Maha Orthodoxy nodded as well. However, the orthodoxies behind him didn't think the same way. None of them agreed. The way they saw it, Lin Ling just wanted to take the opportunity to escape, so they should kill him on the spot. However, Maha Orthodoxy had already agreed, so they could only endure it for the time being. Oh, right, don't disturb me when I'm communicating with your progenitor. Otherwise, don't blame me if your progenitor doesn't wake up. At this time, Lin Ling said calmly. He's speaking as if it's true. This brat is too good at pretending. Upon hearing Lin Ling's words, the orthodoxies were even more displeased. As for Maha Orthodoxy, in order to obtain the will of the world, he endured it. He nodded and said, as long as you don't destroy the statue, we won't stop you. It's impossible to destroy the statue, but it's unavoidable to destroy a small part of it. Do you agree? Lin Ling asked again. All right. Maha Orthodoxy gritted its teeth and finally agreed. Brother Maha. Seeing that Brother Maha was continuously giving in to Lin Ling, the orthodoxies were indignant. This was especially true for Xian Wuba, who was the most furious. He had already forced Lin Ling into a corner and was about to kill him. However, at the critical moment, this troublesome thing had happened. Let him be proud for a while longer. Don't worry, as long as he fails, I don't think he'll dare to say anything. Maha Orthodoxy waved his hand, indicating for everyone to calm down. The dragons in the Dragon Valley were also looking at Lin Ling in shock. The progenitor of the broken Holy Land was very ancient. Even they weren't familiar with it. How could Lin Ling be familiar with it? Dragon God, even Maha Orthodoxy couldn't wake the progenitor up. If it's Lin Ling, I'm afraid it'll be even harder. The golden dragon appeared beside the dragon god and said worriedly. We can't back down now. We can only trust Lin Ling. The dragon god sighed and said helplessly. Bang! However, just as the two of them finished talking, there was a loud bang in front of them. They saw Lin Ling standing on the shoulder of one of the progenitor statues. He grabbed the statue's earring with both hands and pulled it hard, causing it to fall to the ground. The statue was the statue of White Maiden, the progenitor of the 10 orthodoxies. Fuck! Seeing Lin Ling stepping on White Maiden, the orthodoxies felt their hearts bleeding. Even they didn't dare to step on the progenitor. They could only kneel down and worship it. Damn it, Maha Orthodoxy. I think we should kill him immediately. One of the orthodoxies said angrily. Endure. Maha Orthodoxy's face was contorted in anger. However, when he thought of the promise he made to Lin Ling, he endured it. If he attacked now, Lin Ling might use this as an excuse to say that they interfered and caused the progenitor to not wake up. Bang bang bang. At this moment, there was another loud bang. After the earrings of White Maiden's statue were removed, Lin Ling started to pull out the hairpin on the statue's head. The hairpin was carved out of a rock and was bigger than Lin Ling. After Lin Ling pulled it out, he slammed it on the ground. Bang! The hairpin shattered, scattering rocks all over the ground. It was as if the hearts of the orthodoxies were shattered. How cruel. Maha-orthodoxy, we can't let him humiliate our progenitor. If this goes on, how can we face our progenitor in the future? The orthodoxies were on the verge of tears as they looked at Maha-orthodoxy. We've agreed that as long as we don't destroy the progenitor, we can still play dirty. If you feel bad, you don't have to watch. Maha-orthodoxy's heart was bleeding as he gritted his teeth and said, "Hee, I knew it. That kid is using this opportunity to take revenge. He can't wake up the progenitor. Luckily, he's attacking your progenitor. Ha ha ha." Beside them, Xian Wuba was gloating, mocking Maha-orthodoxy for trusting Lin Ling. Maha-orthodoxy's eyes twitched when he heard that. He suddenly felt that he was a little foolish. The reason he agreed to Lin Ling's request was not only because they wouldn't be at a disadvantage, but he also had other intentions. He was hoping that Lin Ling would be able to awaken the progenitor. After all, Lin Ling knew that the progenitor cultivated the pure water sky grand art. One had to know that only their orthodoxies in the Cataclysm Divine Land knew about this grand art. However, it seemed like Lin Ling was just a blind cat that caught a dead mouse. Enough. Seeing that Lin Ling had started to pull out the bracelet on the progenitor's statue, Maha-orthodoxy could no longer hold it in. As soon as he spoke, the orthodoxies no longer held back. All of them unleashed their aura, ready to fight to the death. Crack. 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 At that moment, the progenitor's statue seemed to have touched some taboo. Its head began to move, and its mouth slowly opened, revealing a cave that was as tall as a person. Moreover, it was emitting a blue light. This was something that had never happened to the statue in thousands of years. At that moment, all the orthodoxies who were filled with murderous aura stopped moving. Xian Wuba, Dragon God, and the others were shocked. Could it be that the kid had succeeded? Chapter 45-34. Alright, I'm going to wake up your primogenitor now. Wait for me. Lin Ling took a step forward and shot towards the cave. At the same time, he used his divine vitality to form a complicated seal before disappearing into the cave. The Sky River deity had told Lin Ling all of this while he was in prison. Of course, Lin Ling was not so kind as to help the broken Holy Land awaken their primogenitor for free. He was after the pure heavenly spiritual comet fluid in the statue. He's gone in. To prevent him from pulling any tricks, let's go in and take a look. Seeing Lin Ling disappear, the orthodoxies immediately turned to Maha-orthodoxy. Maha-orthodoxy nodded. He did not want things to get out of hand, so he immediately led the group towards the cave. Splash. However, just as they got close to the cave, a terrifying surge of water from the heavenly river rushed towards them. The orthodoxies were thrown off their feet. They could not withstand the force at all. It's the power of the primogenitor. After the orthodoxies crashed onto the ground, they all looked up in horror. Why can that kid go in but we can't? Maha-orthodoxy immediately asked after recovering from his shock. This time, everyone was puzzled. According to Lin Ling's age, he should be a local deity in the void of the 9 continents. He should not know much about the secrets of the age of Pantheon. But why did he have a way to enter but they, as the descendants of the primogenitor, could not? That kid is a little strange. Maha-orthodoxy could not understand and could only say so. Everyone nodded in agreement. Unfortunately, they did not know that Lin Ling did not know the heavenly water pure maiden, but he knew her father. At this moment, Lin Ling was walking along the cave. To his surprise, he discovered that after entering the stone sculpture, he seemed to have arrived at a world of water. Moreover, this water was extremely extraordinary. It was sparkling and translucent as it flowed, carrying with it a divine charm. There's an endless amount of divine power hidden in the water. Although Lin Ling didn't feel any pressure, he knew that this was only because he knew the method to enter. If it was anyone else, then they would have been suppressed to death by the endless divine power. From the looks of it, this white water pure maiden must be very powerful. She must be a mid-level god. Lin Ling muttered to himself. The difference between a mid-god and a low god was like heaven and earth. No matter how talented or powerful a low god was, a low god would never be a match for a mid-god. Some of the more powerful low gods could at most survive a mid-god's attack by luck. Crash. As he moved forward, Lin Ling felt that there was water flowing under his feet, like a small stream. He walked on the stream, and rumbling sounds began to appear in front of him, as if there were many waterfalls in front of him. This made Lin Ling speed up a little. Following the flow of water, Lin Ling finally reached the end. He saw that he was on a cliff, and the stream below his feet crashed down from high above. Moreover, this stream was not the one Lin Ling was at. The entire space in front of him was filled with streams. Endless water flowed down from the cave entrance. It was a spectacular scene. Looking straight ahead, there were shallow ripples on the ground. They were resplendent and radiant as they flowed slowly. A statue condensed from crystals sat there. It was over 100 meters tall and wore a gauzy gown. It was like a goddess. However, the water around the statue was clearly different. It was much clearer and reflected even more colorful light. This water was like the essence of all water. It flowed under the statue and did not disperse. Pure heavenly spirit comet elixir. Lin Ling stared at the elixir under the statue. He knew that this elixir was even rarer than the divine spring. It had a supreme effect. Even in the era of the gods, it was incomparably rare. Lin Ling immediately stepped out of the cave. At this time, Lin Ling also felt that the giant statue seemed to have awakened. It was looking at him with a cold and arrogant gaze, as if it was saying, "Where did this ant come from?" How arrogant. Lin Ling ignored the statue's gaze. He landed under the statue and sat down cross-legged. "Who are you?" At this time, a voice suddenly came from the giant statue. "You dare to have designs on my pure heavenly spirit comet elixir? Do you want to die?" Lin Ling looked up and said indifferently, "Pure heavenly spirit woman white, stop putting on an act in front of me. My name is Lei Gong Lin Ling. I'm here to help you." "With just you? You really are an ant that doesn't know your place." The statue's voice came out again. It was full of disdain and mockery. It didn't believe Lin Ling's words at all. It even treated Lin Ling as an ant that was bound to die. After speaking, she didn't say anything else. She was too lazy to waste her breath. Lin Ling chuckled. He understood Whitewater Pure Maiden's thoughts. He slowly said, "Your heavenly water pure technique has been cultivated to the limit. If this goes on, you will always be in a state of suspended animation. As for me, I am the one who will give you the last 3 levels of the technique." "How do you know about the pure heavenly spirit technique? You were sent by my father? Quickly, give me the last 3 layers of the pure heavenly spirit technique." The statue suddenly shook. Its voice was full of surprise. "Your father sent you?" Lin Ling knew that this pure heavenly spirit woman thought of him as a servant. He lazily said, "Why should I give it to you? Also, when asking for help, shouldn't you say please and then thank you?" "You." This time, the statue was stunned. She never thought that this servant would be so arrogant. But for the last 3 layers of the pure heavenly spirit technique, she endured. As long as she got out of her suspended animation state, she would slowly teach this junior a lesson. "Please, give me the last 3 layers of the pure heavenly spirit technique." "Thank you." The statue made a sound. It was obvious that her thank you was very unnatural. Of course, this was normal. She was the pure heavenly spirit woman, the daughter of the sky river water god. In this era, it was always others who said thank you to her. It was always others who asked her for help. Unfortunately, her arrogance was useless in front of Lin Ling. "You're still missing the word love." Lin Ling, who was standing under the statue, replied lazily. "You don't go too far." Whitewater Pure Woman was furious. Where did this ignorant brat come from? I'm so angry. She pondered for a moment and finally said sincerely, please, give me the last 3 layers of the water pure sky technique. Thank you. In order to escape, she continued to endure. She secretly swore that as soon as she escaped, she would find her father and ask him who this arrogant brat was and why he had asked such a person to help her. And if her father didn't speak, she would personally teach this junior a lesson. Seeing that you're so sincere, fine. I'll give you the last 3 layers of the pure heavenly spirit technique. Hearing the pure heavenly spirit woman's words, Lin Ling nodded. He waved his right hand and the cultivation method he obtained from the sky river water god floated over. Then, Lin Ling greedily absorbed the pure heavenly spirit comet liquid on the ground. Greedy brat, I'll let you be proud for a while. Once I escape, even if my father is here, he won't be able to stop me from teaching you a lesson. Chapter 45-35. Lin Ling also entered a state of cultivation when he sensed that pure white maiden was cultivating. What a rich spiritual energy. A warm current flowed into Lin Ling's body, giving him an indescribable sense of comfort. The effects of the pure heavenly spirit comet fluid were not something the divine spring could compare to. Not only did it increase Lin Ling's cultivation realm, but it also increased his divine energy and physical strength. Most importantly, it also increased Lin Ling's soul energy. The word wisdom in the pure heavenly spirit comet fluid explained everything. The cultivation of a god depends not only on one's foundation but also on the universe's most desolate grade treasures. Luck is the most important factor in obtaining these ancient desolate grade treasures. Lin Ling sighed inwardly. If he had not coincidentally found pure white maiden's father, Lin Ling might not have been able to obtain such a precious treasure. This water seems to have a spirit. There's no need to refine it at all. It actually flows into my dantian by itself. After sighing, Lin Ling sensed that his cultivation was increasing rapidly. Moreover, this increase had no side effects. It was gentle and vigorous. His dantian was constantly transforming. Lin Ling did not even need to activate the chaos divine formula as the ancient spiritual energy continued to nourish his dantian. Looks like it won't be difficult to make a breakthrough. Lin Ling's lips curled into a smile. He had made many breakthroughs, but the progress was always slow. Now, he finally felt the signs of a breakthrough. And with this breakthrough, Lin Ling was confident that he could dominate among the lower gods. In fact, with his current strength, there were very few late-stage lower gods who could defeat him, unless they were monstrous existences. Ancient Thunder Beast. Lin Ling took out the treasure he had obtained at the Divine Land Conference and gently placed it in front of him. He controlled the white lightning to wrap around the bone and slowly refine it. The bones of the ancient Thunder Beast were very hard and hard to refine. If not for the feedback from the Luai's true body, Lin Ling might not have snatched the bone treasure away from Lin Ling. After the white lightning wrapped around the bones, it slowly seeped into the bones and began to refine the mysterious energy from within. Lin Ling sensed that this kind of refinement would take a long time, so he also entered a state of comprehension. All the martial arts he had learned in his life slowly flowed through his mind as if history was repeating itself. Lin Ling had practiced martial arts for 2 lifetimes. In his first life, Li Xiaoyao had rich martial arts experience. In his second life, Lin Ling was even better than Li Xiaoyao. The martial arts experience of 2 lifetimes flowed into his mind. Undoubtedly, it was also slowly increasing the foundation for a breakthrough. And this kind of memory, from simple to complex, from nothing to something, finally comprehended the martial arts that Lin Ling was currently learning. Now, Lin Ling had the human monarch's flame. However, he had stopped cultivating this talent after comprehending it to a certain extent. The Thunderlock true body had also been cultivated to the 5th level. As for the other divine abilities, such as the Bodhi Testimony divine technique, Lin Ling had cultivated them to their limits. Apart from slowly increasing Lin Ling's soul force, this divine technique wasn't of much help to him. The only things that Lin Ling was still cultivating and comprehending were the primal chaos divine technique, the cardinal grand Brahma punishment art, and the Pangu strike. This was because these three techniques were the most ancient techniques, and the martial arts that he had learned before could only dominate the deity realm. Bang! 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 In Lin Ling's dantian, rumbling sounds were constantly heard. After his foundation of martial arts and cultivation resources had met the requirements, his first dantian had finally entered the late-stage low god realm. The divine energy in his dantian was surging, as though it had the power to split the heavens and earth. This kid has broken through. Whitewater Pure Maiden, who was standing on the huge statue behind Lin Ling, also sensed the changes in Lin Ling. Of course, she was only a little surprised. With her experience, she had met countless late-stage low gods in her life. Boom! 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 But at this moment, another formless divine aura filled the air. Another breakthrough. Whitewater Pure Maiden thought that her eyes were playing tricks on her because she had just sensed that Lin Ling had broken through. How could he have broken through again? This must be fake. How can a person break through so many times? Whitewater Pure Maiden shook her head. But at this time, another wave of energy came. Divine energy and divine aura filled the air like a tidal wave. Another breakthrough. This time, Whitewater Pure Maiden no longer thought that her eyes were playing tricks on her. Boom! 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 But the divine energy and divine aura seemed to have opened the floodgates. Waves after waves of energy came from it, as though it was breaking through again and again. Heavens! Whitewater Pure Maiden couldn't be bothered with her cultivation anymore. Her eyes were fixed on Lin Ling's body, and she was completely dumbfounded. She could be considered an ancient great god in the era of gods. She had seen a lot of things, but this was the first time she had seen such a strange thing. Could it be that there were 6 or 7 gods hiding in that kid's body? Or did that kid have several dantians? But she had heard of people with 3 dantians. Having more than 3 dantians was rare even in the era of gods. Moreover, even if there were, it was just a kind of divine ability and not a real multidantian cultivation. Because too many dantians would go against heaven's harmony. While cultivating, there would also be conflicts. The most basic thing was that when refining treasures, the various dantians would compete for spiritual energy. A moment of carelessness and this would lead to chi deviation. How could she know that Lin Ling's chaos divine formula did not have this kind of flaw at all? What a strange kid. Whitewater Pure Maiden discovered that this ant was not as weak as he appeared on the surface. After this ant broke through, she would interrogate him properly. If he dared not to fight, then she would kill him. Whitewater Pure Maiden, as the progenitor of the breakage divine soil, was in existence akin to an overlord. At this moment, Lin Ling did not know that Whitewater Pure Maiden was watching him break through. Of course, if possible, Lin Ling did not want to expose his cultivation process, but he had no other choice. As Lin Ling continued to break through, the amount of spiritual liquid he was sitting cross-legged on decreased. Ka ka ka. At the same time, endless white lightning raged around Lin Ling's body. It was majestic, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It turned into a mysterious thunder god with a pair of thunderous wings and a body of lightning. This thunder god's long hair draped over his shoulders, fluttering in the wind. There was a mysterious eye patch over his eyes. He spread his arms and floated behind Lin Ling, giving others the feeling that he was the ruler of the world, omnipotent and omnipotent. A mid-god divine fetus. Whitewater Pure Maiden spoke again. Clearly, she had also noticed that Lin Ling's talent had broken through. His talent is not bad. With a mid-god divine fetus in his body, unless his perception and luck are too poor, it shouldn't be difficult for him to break through to the mid-god realm. However, it's hard to find the treasures needed to break through in the current void. It's possible to find them in the shattered divine world. Of course, if you can go to the most ancient chaos world, then you'll break through. breaking through to the mid-god realm is a matter of certainty. Whitewater Pure Maiden said indifferently. She naturally knew that Lin Ling could break through because of her pure heavenly spiritual comet liquid. Chapter 45-36. The Luai's True Body, the Talent of the Luai's God. However, although the Luai's God was famous during the era of gods, and had many disciples, he did not have a deep foundation. He was not a descendant of an ancient great god, so he reached his limit during the era of gods. Whitewater Pure Maiden said again. During the era of gods, there were countless powerful gods, but those with the halo of an ancient great god were undoubtedly more powerful and had greater potential. However, to obtain such a halo, one had to possess the bloodline of an ancient great god, or obtain the inheritance of an ancient great god. Otherwise, it was very difficult to obtain such a halo. Ring. Alright, although I haven't finished cultivating the clear water sky technique, I can withdraw from the state of suspended animation. Now, let's see where this little ant came from. I'm very curious about his dantians. Whitewater Maiden walked out from the crystal statue. She wore a white robe, and her feet were bare. Her silver hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall. She was very beautiful. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call her a goddess. Of course, even in the age of gods, pure white was one of the top beauties. Back then, countless gods were moved by her beauty, which created her arrogant heart. Whitewater Maiden then stood not far from Lin Ling, looking at Lin Ling indifferently as if she was looking at a servant. Lin Ling was oblivious to this, and he was still in the excitement of breaking through. This breakthrough had undoubtedly benefited him greatly. First, his Luai's true body had finally entered the ranks of mid-god divine embryos. It was at the second grade, on par with the heavenly dragon protector. It provided Lin Ling with great speed, defense, divine aura, and divine energy. Now, of his 7 dantians, 5 of them were at the level of a god. On the other hand, the strongest person in the past, King Yen, was still a low god. However, Lin Ling had too many talents, so he did not put much effort into cultivating the Luai's true body. Instead, he checked the effects of the breakthrough. After the Luai's true body's breakthrough, Lin Ling's greatest advantage was speed. Now, Lin Ling's base speed was at 1 million world speed. If he fused with the third stage, he could reach a terrifying 1.5 million world speed. This time, the speed of improvement was incomparably terrifying. Of course, other than the speed of improvement, the Luai's true body did not make much progress in other areas. However, Lin Ling had made a breakthrough this time, so his other areas had also improved in all aspects. His soul power had reached 160,000 levels. His physical strength was 70,010,000 worlds force. If he fused with the third stage talent, he could reach a terrifying 10,010,000 worlds force. Moreover, if he used the Pangu strike, it would increase by 100%, reaching 14,010,000 worlds force. It could be said that just by relying on the strength of his body, Lin Ling would be able to move unhindered among late-stage low gods. Looking at his godly power, his base level was 30,000 strands of godly power. If he fused with the third stage talent, he could reach 80,000 strands of godly power. Most importantly, the third stage of innate fusion was the fusion of the 7 great innate talents, and all of the divine power was improving. The further I cultivate the primal chaos divine formula, the greater the improvement. Lin Ling was secretly shocked. He was looking forward to seeing how terrifying his strength would be after the 8th dantian was opened. If all 9 dantians were opened at the same time, his strength would increase by at least 9 times, or even more. Unfortunately, although the 9 dantians brought great power, the cultivation resources required to open them were also much more. Now, Lin Ling felt that he had the foundation to open the 8th dantian, but unfortunately, he did not have enough treasures to open it. Shaking his head, Lin Ling finally opened his eyes. However, his eyes were not as sharp as before. Instead, they were more profound. He did not know why, but the breakthrough this time gave him a very strange feeling. It was as if he had gone with the wind. His eyes swept around and immediately found the lady in white standing not far from him. The lady was very beautiful. Her eyes were like autumn water, graceful and graceful. She was as light as a fleeting shadow, as if a fairy had descended to the mortal world. Although the lady was dressed very plainly, her white dress just so happened to set off her spirit. On the contrary, if she was dressed too extravagantly, it would cause her to lose her spirituality and become like an ordinary person. Lin Ling had seen all kinds of beauties since he started learning martial arts. However, in terms of temperament, it was this lady who left the deepest impression on him. Even Yu Yu and the rest could not compare. Is this the pure white maiden? Lin Ling thought to himself, then slowly stood up. You're awake. The pure white maiden kept looking at Lin Ling. Her expression was very cold, as if she was staring at Lin Ling not as a person, but as a grain of sand, a speck of dust. Perhaps, she had seen too much, so in her eyes, Lin Ling was just a grain of sand on the Great Tao. In the end, he could not escape the Great Tao. The restraint of the Great Tao would soon disappear from her sight. Therefore, when facing a grain of sand, a true god would not have any feelings. Lin Ling sensed the pure white maiden's emotions, so he nodded lazily. What cultivation method did you train in? You have to know that every martial artist has their own cultivation method when they become a god. Moreover, if their cultivation method is incomplete, they will have to find a new cultivation method in the deity realm. So, tell me the cultivation method you used to enter the deity realm and deity realm. The pure white maiden's words seemed casual, but they carried an unquestionable majesty. It was as if Lin Ling would definitely answer if she asked. She even personally asked Lin Ling. This was a reward for Lin Ling, a blessing for Lin Ling. Of course, with her beauty, strength, and status, she indeed had the qualifications. Haha. However, Lin Ling laughed. In terms of status, beauty, and strength? The ancient deities Lin Ling knew were even more ancient than the pure white maiden. For example, the Eastern Sea Dragon King he met in the Eight-God Celestial Palace. This ancient deity surpassed the pure white maiden in every aspect, except for beauty. Moreover, Lin Ling was no longer the carefree and unruly youth of the past. Beauty to him was just a beautiful flower at some point in time. He only admired it, how could his heart be moved? What are you laughing at? Seeing Lin Ling remain silent, the pure white maiden frowned. She did not know why, but she felt that Lin Ling was looking at her with a mocking gaze. A little god of this era actually had the nerve to laugh at her? If you don't speak, you have to bear the consequences. The pure white maiden was not a person who liked to be long-winded. She directly stated their relationship. Don't tell me you still want to use force? Although it is indeed difficult for me to resist with your strength, unfortunately, even if I stand still, I think you won't dare to touch me. Lin Ling said. Ha ha ha. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the pure white maiden couldn't help but laugh. Although it was a bold and unrestrained laughter, it had the beauty of a heroine. In this aspect, the Luli Empress of the past could not compare to her, and neither could Longyang. Chapter 45-37. Are you ready to die after reading this letter? White Maiden stared at the letter floating in the water. She did not think that Amir Jr. could take out a letter that could move her. Let me tell you something. I've been wanting to teach you a lesson for your rudeness for a long time now. Maybe you have some sort of background, but it's useless to me. I've seen more gods in my life, and I've fought more battles than you ever could. White Maiden waved her hand as she spoke, sucked the letter over, and then slowly opened it. However, after seeing the first word, her whole body trembled because it was her father's handwriting. She was very sure that these words were really written by her father, because these words seemed simple, but in fact, each word hid the aura of the Milky Way, and others could not forge it at all. My father is indeed still alive. Kid, where did you see my father? Tell me, or don't blame me for killing you. White Maiden suddenly raised her head and looked at Lin Ling fiercely. Finish reading the letter before you talk nonsense. Lin Ling said. I'll let you be proud first. White Maiden gritted her teeth and continued reading the letter. However, the more she read, the more her pretty face changed, and in the end, her whole body trembled. Not only did the letter describe what had happened to the Sky River Water God in the past few years, it also gave pointers to the White Water Pure Maiden's future cultivation. Most importantly, his father had asked the White Water Pure Maiden to thank the person who delivered the letter, and to follow the person who delivered the letter to help him. This must be fake. White Maiden kept blinking and used her divine vitality to check, but found that the words were still written by her father. This made her suddenly raise her head and stare at Lin Ling. The Milky Way Water God, the king of gods in the past, actually wanted to thank this arrogant kid? He even wanted her to follow this kid and help him? What kind of joke was this? One had to know that in the past, many gods were proud to be able to help the Milky Way Water God. At that time, who dared to ask for a reward? No, not a single one. What did you say to my father? Where is my father? I want to ask him personally. White Maiden said sternly. I didn't say anything. As for where your father is, I have no comment. Also, didn't your father tell you to thank me heavily? Lin Ling said indifferently. Nonsense. Not only did my father want me to thank you heavily, he also wanted me to follow you and help you. She was the progenitor of the godly soil of the Broken Realm, one of the most terrifying gods of the present age. Even in the age of gods, she would have been a force to be reckoned with. But now, she had to follow a brat who was still wet behind the ears. Follow me? Why would I want a fierce servant? Lin Ling was shocked when he heard White Water Goddess's words. He had only glanced at the envelope and did not see the words written by the Sky River God. It seemed that the Sky River God was also cunning. He knew that it would be difficult to see him, so he used his daughter to play the friendship card and fight for him to let him go. The River God. What? Servant? When did I become your servant? Hearing this, White Water Pure Maiden became even angrier. Not my servant, you're not qualified to be my servant. Because, what do I want you for? Lin Ling corrected her. You. White Water Pure Maiden was so angry that her breasts trembled. Then, she pounced on Lin Ling and reached out with her jade-like hand. The sound of a raging river could be heard. She was so angry that she almost lost her mind. Asking her to be a servant was a great humiliation to her, but who would have thought that this arrogant brat would say no with a disdainful face? Damn it. You want to kill me? Seeing White Water Pure Maiden's sudden attack, Lin Ling's eyes narrowed. Subconsciously, he unleashed a powerful force and punched out. Boom! Although he did not have the third stage talent fusion, the current Lin Ling was no longer the same as before. This punch actually knocked White Water Pure Maiden's hand askew. However, White Water Pure Maiden was still an intermediate celestial. No matter how strong Lin Ling was, there was still an insurmountable gap between them. Therefore, White Water Pure Maiden's arm trembled. A powerful force gushed out from her body and grabbed at Lin Ling again. The speed of this attack increased by a few notches. It was not what Lin Ling could block at all. By the time Lin Ling reacted, his neck was already grabbed by a jade-like hand. However, Lin Ling was not afraid in the slightest. He looked at White Water Pure Maiden coldly and said, "You dare to go against father's words? Or, are you, White Water Pure Maiden, an ungrateful person? I saved you, but you came to kill me instead." White Water Pure Maiden could not refute these words. She naturally knew that Lin Ling saved her. However, Lin Ling did not give her face too much. Forget being disrespectful to her, he even dared to make her a servant. She could not swallow this insult. However, thinking of her father whose life and death were unknown, and thinking of her father's instructions, she finally gritted her teeth and let go of Lin Ling. While Lin Ling stroked his neck, his expression icy cold. All right, although I saved you, I also took your clear water heavenly spirit comet elixir. Therefore, you don't have to thank me. We're even now. Goodbye. Although Lin Ling knew that white water pure maiden would not kill him, Lin Ling still felt uncomfortable coming into contact with this powerful mid-god. Therefore, he did not plan on staying any longer. Then what about me? Seeing Lin Ling turn around and leave, white water pure maiden suddenly said. How would I know? Go wherever you want to cool off. Lin Ling replied. You. White water pure maiden stomped her feet in anger. She naturally did not want to bother with Lin Ling. However, her father instructed her to follow Lin Ling and help the latter. If she could not do it, she would not be able to answer to her father. Most importantly, she also had a feeling that following this young man, she might be able to find her father's whereabouts. I can help you. After hesitating for a long time, white water pure maiden finally spoke. After saying this, she felt as though she had suffered the greatest humiliation in her life. Oh, no need. However, white water pure maiden was dumbfounded when Lin Ling bluntly rejected her. This made her feel as though she had been ruthlessly slapped in the face. If you want to be my servant, perhaps I will consider it. However, whether you can become my servant or not depends on what you do next. Lin Ling's voice sounded again. Although Lin Ling did not like this white water pure maiden, the latter was ultimately powerful. It would be good to have a free servant. All right, I will take fully and completely become your slave. Hearing Lin Ling's words, white water pure maiden gritted her teeth and spoke word by word. Her heart was erupting like a volcano at this moment, but she did not dare to do anything. Go out. Lin Ling nodded and walked out the way he came. Meanwhile, outside the stone statue, the orthodoxies were still waiting for Lin Ling to come out. They were completely unaware that their primogenitor had become Lin Ling's servant. He's out. At this moment, the Maha Orthodoxy who had been staring at the statue spoke excitedly. Chapter 45-38. Under everyone's watchful eyes, a slender figure finally appeared from the mouth of the giant stone statue. At that moment, the entire great path fell silent. Dragon Valley, Dragon God, various orthodoxies, Xian Wuba, and the others all stared at the person who walked out. Did he succeed? They all had the same thought in their minds. However, deep down, they did not think that Lin Ling had succeeded. After calming down, they realized what Lin Ling was doing. He was trying to awaken the primogenitor. Who was the primogenitor? He was a powerful figure from the era of the Pantheon. He was their true god. How could Lin Ling revive him so easily? Lei Gong Lin Ling, how long are you going to lie to us? Suddenly, Xian Wuba roared. From the looks of it, as long as Lin Ling shook his head, he would be the first to attack Lin Ling. Although he might not be a match for Lin Ling now, he could at least create chaos so that the other orthodoxies could surround and kill Lin Ling. Lin Ling came out too quickly. How can he awaken the primogenitor in such a short time? Lin Ling, oh, Lin Ling, do you really think we're idiots? Why don't you just give up now? Maha Orthodoxy narrowed his eyes. He had a different idea from Xian Wuba. His goal was to get the World Will's host body. At his command, the other orthodoxies immediately attacked. Wait! Dragon God wanted to stop them, but he was too late. The other orthodoxies attacked too quickly, intending to force Lin Ling to submit with lightning speed. However, just as they took to the sky, another figure slowly walked out from the mouth of the stone statue. She wore a long white dress. Her outfit was simple but dignified. After she walked out, she stood quietly beside Lin Ling. Are you all trying to rebel? A voice that was clear and melodious like a bell carried a wisp of unquestionable dignity as it drifted out from the mouth of this person. Primogenitor. The other orthodoxies stopped what they were doing and looked at her in shock. Some people were even afraid that their eyes were playing tricks on them, so they gave themselves 3 hard slaps. Only after they saw stars did they confirm what they were seeing. Primogenitor, how did you wake up? The Maha Orthodoxy stammered with a look of reverence. Whether it was in the godly broken land or the era of gods, they were the progenitor's people for generations to come. If I still don't wake up, are you going to turn the world upside down? Beside Lin Ling, White Water Pure Maiden said calmly. I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare. Primogenitor, please calm down. All the orthodoxies bowed respectfully. In the distance, the martial artists from the 10 orthodoxies also bowed respectfully, their hearts pounding. The primogenitor had truly awakened. This Lei Gong is really capable. Even though Xian Wuba wasn't from one of the 10 orthodoxies, he quickly bowed because a god at the level of a progenitor could easily kill him with a single finger. The people from the Dragon Valley were also shocked, but soon their faces were filled with worry. Even though Lin Ling had saved the primogenitor, it was obviously not a good thing. The godly Broken Land's primogenitor would definitely help his own people, and he might even attack Lin Ling immediately. As soon as this concern arose, the Maha Orthodoxy pointed at Lin Ling and said, Lord Primogenitor, he's Lei Gong, one of the 4 great gods of the 9 continents void. He knows about the stone tablet where the will of the world resides. That shameless bastard. Even though the dragon god had already guessed it, he was still furious. After all, Lin Ling had saved the primogenitor, but these guys turned their backs on him. Of course, the dragon god also knew that a great battle was inevitable. The dragon god immediately sent a telepathic message, Radiant Golden Dragon, I'm afraid we can't avoid a great battle. When the battle begins, we must protect Lin Ling and leave no matter what. Yes, Lord Dragon God. The Radiant Golden Dragon replied solemnly. Oh, so you're one of the 4 great gods, Lei Gong. But do you know about the stone tablet where the will of the world resides? At this moment, the White Maiden glanced at Lin Ling. She didn't expect this arrogant kid to have such a strong background. That stone tablet was destroyed, I didn't know. The will of the world was of great importance, and Lin Ling didn't want to admit anything. He's talking nonsense, we saw him steal the stone tablet with our own eyes. Primogenitor, don't believe him. Seeing that the primogenitor had personally asked, the Maha Orthodoxy and the others were laughing in their hearts. Lei Gong Lin Ling, you're going to die this time. Are they telling the truth? The White Maiden asked Lin Ling again. However, Lin Ling was clearly impatient, and said coldly, as a servant, don't you think you're talking too much? You. The White Maiden didn't expect Lin Ling to suddenly say that. Servant? Of course, the Maha Orthodoxy and the others understood. They were stunned for a moment, then almost burst out laughing. This Lei Gong Lin Ling was crazy, calling the primogenitor a servant. Not to mention the current era, even in the age of Pantheon, no one dared to. They were not ordinary people, they knew the primogenitor's background, she was the daughter of the Sky River Water God. What? You don't want to be my servant? That's great, I'm happy to have some peace. At this time, Lin Ling spoke again, looking very dissatisfied, and walked towards the Dragon Valley. The White Maiden gritted her teeth, this guy must be doing it on purpose, he's trying to embarrass me in front of everyone. But if this guy left just like that, then wouldn't she be unable to fulfill her father's orders? Wait for me, I'm willing to be your servant. Thinking of this, the White Maiden hurriedly chased after Lin Ling, Servant. The orthodoxies were stunned. Then, a series of loud bangs sounded, and one by one, they fell from the sky. Servant? Their primogenitor actually became Lei Gong Lin Ling's servant, this must be a joke. This, Lord Dragon God, did I hear wrongly? This powerful primogenitor became Lin Ling's servant? The Radiant Golden Dragon's eyes twitched violently. I also want to know if I heard wrongly. The Dragon God's mouth twitched, then he saw Lin Ling walking towards him. He suddenly smiled bitterly, he did not understand what Lin Ling did to the primogenitor. Let's go. Lin Ling did not explain anything. He planned to leave the Cataclysm Holy Land after saying that. Moreover, Lin Ling did not say anything to the White Maiden, but the latter gritted her teeth and continued to follow Lin Ling. She knew that if she did not follow Lin Ling, she would not be able to get any news about her father. Looking at the departing Lin Ling, the orthodoxies were still dumbfounded. Suddenly, the Maha Orthodoxy shouted, "Primogenitor, where are you going?" The White Maiden pondered for a moment, then finally said coldly, "I'm now Lei Gong Lin Ling's servant, I'll go wherever he goes." This time, she personally replied to the orthodoxies. Bang bang bang. Those orthodoxies who had just gotten up fell to the ground again. She was really a servant. 100,000 whys floated in their minds. Chapter 45-39. They couldn't understand, they really couldn't understand. Although they were confused, they didn't dare to ask. They could only watch as the primogenitor gradually disappeared from their sight. At this time, Lin Ling led everyone away from the Broken Realm Holy Land. Following the void, they walked step by step in the direction of the Kai Yuan River. Behind Lin Ling, the dragon race members didn't dare to speak. They were very afraid of Whitewater Pure Maiden. Whitewater Pure Maiden didn't speak either. She stared at Lin Ling indifferently. Her opinion of Lin Ling had changed slightly because she didn't expect Lin Ling to have such ability. He wasn't a nobody in the void. After all, she had seen that even the dragon race seemed to be very friendly to Lin Ling. Whitewater Pure Maiden naturally knew about the dragon race. They were a branch of the ancient dragon race. Although they couldn't compare to the ancient dragon god, they weren't weak either. Generally speaking, they rarely submitted to others, let alone a young and inexperienced dragon god. Fuck this junior. Lord Dragon God, this mission is complete. If you want to go to the Eight Gods' heavenly palace soon, I will send someone to inform you. The Kai Yuan River began to appear in front of them. Lin Ling stopped and looked at the old man behind him. Good, good, good. The dragon god smiled and nodded. Then I'll take my leave first. Thank you for your help this time. If there's anything you need help with in the future, just say it. Lin Ling said again. No need to be so polite with one of us. The dragon god waved his hand and said. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Lin Ling, he led the dragons and flew towards the Kai Yuan River. After the dragon race left, Lin Ling looked at Whitewater Pure Maiden and said, I know you're following me. First, you have to complete your father's orders. Second, you want to know your father's whereabouts. Then I can tell you here. If you perform well, I might tell you the whereabouts of the Sky River Water God. I hope you can do as you say. Whitewater Pure Maiden also nodded. She didn't seem as arrogant as before, but Lin Ling could still sense that this restraint was only because of her father's face. However, Lin Ling didn't mind and continued, but if you want to follow me, there's a condition. You're not allowed to question or investigate anything about me. If I find out that you've violated this condition, then you'll leave immediately and you'll never see your father again in this lifetime. Hearing this, Whitewater Pure Maiden's heart trembled. Originally, she disapproved of Lin Ling's words because she felt that even if she secretly investigated, with Lin Ling's strength, he might not be able to find out. But she didn't expect that Lin Ling would be so decisive. As long as he found the slightest clue, he immediately broke off all relations with her. This also meant that if they wanted to investigate Lin Ling, it would be very risky. For the sake of her father, she obviously had to endure this humiliation again. However, through Lin Ling's words, she also knew that Lin Ling indeed knew her father's whereabouts. Okay, let's go to the bank of the Kaiyuan River. You'll stand guard for me from now on. Lin Ling said again. He planned to give Sima Ruochen's head to the Xianyuan treasure book, and he had also warned Whitewater Pure Maiden, so he wasn't afraid of her knowing the secret of the prison. Moreover, this time was also to test Whitewater Pure Maiden. If she couldn't do as she said, then Lin Ling wouldn't dare to keep such a person. The two of them quickly arrived at the bank of the Kaiyuan River, and Lin Ling took out the stone tablet. In the beginning, Whitewater Pure Maiden had a disdainful expression, thinking that Lin Ling was afraid of some secret being known by her. However, she came from the era of the gods, so there was nothing she didn't know. But when Lin Ling took out the stone pillar of the square prison, Whitewater Pure Maiden was clearly stunned. What is this? Whitewater Pure Maiden had never seen such a treasure. It's best not to ask what you shouldn't ask. Lin Ling didn't even look at her, and with that, he entered the stone pillar. Whitewater Pure Maiden clenched her teeth. What a cocky brat. But soon, she was attracted by the stone pillar of the square prison. What kind of treasure was this? Why hadn't she seen it before? Moreover, it didn't have any power feedback, which was extremely rare. She couldn't help but want to go closer to investigate, but then she remembered Lin Ling's warning. This guy is doing it on purpose. He's testing me, I can't be fooled. Whitewater Pure Maiden suddenly thought of something, sneered, and ignored it. She guessed that Lin Ling must be deliberately baiting her, and this stone pillar might actually have nothing. Brat, I've eaten more salt than you've eaten rice. You want to scheme against me? Dream on. After sneering, Whitewater Pure Maiden sat down cross-legged, and didn't look at the stone pillar anymore. Unfortunately, she didn't know that Lin Ling didn't have time to test her. Inside the stone pillar was the square prison, and even her father was inside. At this moment, Lin Ling entered the prison and went straight to the Xianyuan treasure book first. My lord. Seeing Lin Ling coming, the Xianyuan treasure book was obviously a little excited. Lin Ling didn't say much, and threw Sima Ruochan's head into the prison cell. After the Xianyuan treasure book caught the head, his body trembled, and then his eyes became wet. Thank you, my lord. Thank you. The Xianyuan treasure book kept kowtowing to Lin Ling, very grateful. No need, tell me the map of the 8th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Lin Ling said. Okay. The Xianyuan treasure book gave Lin Ling a square sign and said, Lord Prison Master, after you find the 8 gods' heavenly palace, open the key and you can reach the 8th level. There's a guide in the key, and it will tell you the details of the 8th level. Thank you. Lin Ling took the sign and looked at it, and found that it looked like a square silver pendant, very exquisite. After saying goodbye, Lin Ling went to the prison cell of the Sky River Water God again. My lord, how is my daughter? After seeing Lin Ling, the Sky River Water God rushed over with an anxious face and asked Lin Ling through the prison cell. She has woken up, but why did you let her follow me? Lin Ling asked coldly. Haha. The Sky River Water God smiled awkwardly and said, I just wanted my daughter to be of some help to your lordship. Although my daughter is not very strong, she is still a mid-level deity. If she stays by your lordship's side, she will definitely be of some help. Don't think that I don't know what you are thinking, Sky River Water God. I advise you not to act recklessly. If you anger me, you will not have an easy time. Lin Ling threatened. My lord, I wouldn't dare. The Sky River Water God's face changed, and he hurriedly begged for mercy. Did my daughter offend you? I will write a letter and scold her to wake her up. After saying this, he immediately wrote a letter with his divine essence and handed it to Lin Ling. Lin Ling took it indifferently and turned to leave. Sky River Water God, let me remind you again, don't play any tricks. If I die, you will never be able to get out. Even if your daughter obtains the prison, she doesn't know how to control it. Everything will be in vain. I know. My lord, I definitely wouldn't dare. Chapter 45-40. Lin Ling's purpose for coming here was precisely for that letter. With this letter, Whitewater Pure Maiden would not dare to act recklessly. After that, Lin Ling left the prison and came to the outside world. The first thing he saw was the White Maiden practicing in the distance. She did not seem to care about the square prison at all. This woman is not that stupid after all. Lin Ling smiled. He knew that the White Maiden did not check the prison at all, and she did not dare to do so. Catch. Lin Ling then threw the letter from the Sky River Water God to her. The White Maiden took it and read it. Her expression changed drastically, and the way she looked at Lin Ling changed too. At first, she was half confident that Lin Ling knew her father, but now, she was 100% sure. Because the letter was left by her father, and he emphasized that she must not offend Lin Ling. Okay, let's cross the river. Lin Ling did not care what the White Maiden was thinking. He strode toward the Kaiyuan River. The White Maiden looked at Lin Ling with a complicated expression and quickly followed him. With their strength, crossing the Kaiyuan River was undoubtedly easy. So during this process, Lin Ling once again entered a state of cultivation. He took out an ancient book and read it carefully. This was the clone of the true body. It came from Sima Ruochen. When Sima Ruochen created countless clones, even Lin Ling was shocked by his technique. One should know that Lin Ling had cultivated many cloning techniques in his life and had seen many of them. However, this was the first time he had seen someone like Sima Ruochen, who could even clone with the strength of a god. Aside from the fact that his talent was not strong, his divine essence and divine power were both present. So after killing Sima Ruochen, Lin Ling focused on finding such techniques. Clone of the true body. Beside him, the White Maiden glanced at the book in Lin Ling's hand, then smiled and said, "This clone technique is the strongest. It can split almost 90% of the master's strength, and the number is endless." Lei Gong Lin Ling, where did you get this book? Do you need me to help you cultivate it? Do you want to refine it? There's no need. It's just an avatar of the true body. What's so difficult about cultivating it? Lin Ling shook his head. For Lei Gong Lin Ling to be able to become the youngest god in the 9 prefectures void, his comprehension must be extraordinary. I estimate that when we walk out of this Kaiyuan River, Lei Gong Lin Ling will definitely be able to cultivate his first clone. Being rejected by Lin Ling, Whitewater Pure Maiden did not mind. Although her words seemed to be flattery, in fact, there was a trace of disdain. She did not think that Lin Ling would fail in his cultivation. Although the avatar of the true body seemed powerful, there were conditions to cultivate it. Soul force, divine energy, physical strength, and comprehension of the great Tao, none of these could be lacking. In fact, this divine ability wasn't the rarest in the age of the gods. Many gods had books about it, but very few could cultivate more than 10 clones. Even Bai Shui Su had cultivated it before, but she could only cultivate 3 clones. It wasn't very helpful, and in the end, Bai Shui Su gave it to her. She abandoned it. As for Lin Ling, wanting to cultivate his first clone in such a short period of time after leaving the Kaiyuan River was undoubtedly very difficult. Lin Ling did not pay attention to her. He closed his eyes and walked forward. At the same time, he began to cultivate his avatar of the true body. In fact, Lin Ling was quite confident in cultivating this divine ability. This was because when he entered the prison, he had personally asked the Xianyuan treasure book how to cultivate it. In order to repay Lin Ling, the Xianyuan treasure book told him everything it knew. Therefore, there was no need to comprehend this divine ability. The only thing missing was whether or not he had the qualifications to cultivate it. However, Lin Ling's soul force, divine energy, and physical strength had all reached the standard. He could cultivate the most basic 3,000 clones. Just like this, Lin Ling continued to comprehend as he walked. His mind was constantly practicing, and he gradually became more familiar with this avatar of the true body. Time quietly passed. With Pure White Maiden by his side, Lin Ling did not have to worry about danger. When the endless void began to appear in front of him, the void of the 9 continents was already in sight. At this time, Lin Ling opened his eyes. Lei Gong Lin Ling, how's your cultivation? Pure White Maiden immediately asked when she saw Lin Ling exit his cultivation state. So. Lin Ling smiled and strode forward. So. Thunder Lord Lin Ling, you don't have to worry too much about it. This external body incarnation is one of the most ancient physical body divine abilities. It's normal for someone to not be able to learn it in such a short time. You should know that I've also cultivated it before. It took me 300 years to learn it. I only managed to cultivate 3 clones. I couldn't comprehend the 4th even if I went into seclusion for 100 years. My luck was pretty good. As far as I know, some gods cultivated for 1,000 years and only managed to cultivate a single clone. Pure White Maiden laughed when she saw Lin Ling leave. She guessed that Lin Ling must have failed in his cultivation. Otherwise, why would he leave so quickly? Obviously, he felt embarrassed. This made her feel a sense of satisfaction. This arrogant brat had finally kicked an iron plate. However, Lin Ling ignored her and walked faster and faster. He turned into a rainbow and wanted to rush out of the Kaiyuan River. His heart of martial arts is not solid enough. He can't bear such a small setback. Alas, it seems that I overestimated him. Pure White Maiden could understand Lin Ling's feelings. She knew that Lin Ling had failed in his comprehension, so he was angry from embarrassment. Roar! But at this time, countless water dragons rushed out from the river and intertwined with each other. They surrounded Lin Ling and ruthlessly strangled him. Lei Gong Lin Ling. Even pure Maiden Whitewater couldn't react to this sudden change. She cursed inwardly. Thunder Lord Lin Ling had failed in his cultivation, and his actions had become much more reckless. He had completely forgotten that they were still above the Kaiyuan River. The Kaiyuan River was still dangerous, and if they weren't careful, they could even kill Lin Ling. Roar! However, when she wanted to help, she was still too late. Countless water dragons drowned Lin Ling and completely strangled him. No! Pure White Maiden roared angrily. Her entire person was stunned above the Kaiyuan River as if she had lost her soul. She had finally found some news of her father. However, the person who knew her father's whereabouts had died before her eyes just like that. This meant that wanting to know her father's whereabouts was probably harder than ascending to heaven. Thinking of this, she was both excited and disappointed. Ferocious divine essence erupted, blowing up all the nearby river water. However, the dead Lin Ling did not appear again. Lei Gong Lin Ling, you can't die, you trash. Where is my father, where is my father? Staring at the river water that was constantly forming whirlpools, Pure White Maiden's face was full of disappointment and anger. You're the trash. Suddenly, a voice came from behind, making Pure White Maiden look back. Then, she was surprised to discover a figure slowly walking over from behind. Who could it be if not Lin Ling? You, why aren't you dead? I clearly saw you die before. This time, Pure White Maiden was quite shocked. She believed in her eyesight. The Lin Ling from before was indeed dead, but why did another Lin Ling appear? Chapter 45-41. Avatars of the True Body. In the past, Pure White Maiden cultivated for 300 years and only managed to cultivate 3 avatars. However, Lin Ling only cultivated for a single day and he managed to cultivate 1 avatar. Unless someone instructs him on how to cultivate, and he reaches the standard of cultivation, his comprehension ability is incomparably terrifying. Staring at the approaching Lin Ling, Pure White Maiden's eyes continued to flicker. At this moment, she once again felt the mysteriousness of Lin Ling. One had to know that avatars of the true body were very useful in the ancient era. Many ancient great gods knew how to use these avatars to fight their enemies. Outside of a few limited abilities, this type of ability was truly invincible. This was why in the era of gods, countless gods yearned for this ability. Unfortunately, not many people were able to cultivate it successfully. Because of this avatar, Pure White Maiden didn't distinguish the real from the fake. This was because unless one paid close attention, it was very difficult to distinguish the real from the fake. You've succeeded. I underestimated you a bit. To be able to cultivate an avatar in such a short period of time, you're not simple. Pure White Maiden said to Lin Ling. Lin Ling continued to walk forward and shook his head with a smile. It's not an avatar. Behind him, another avatar immediately walked out. This avatar looked exactly the same as Lin Ling, but its clothes were different. It wore a golden robe with golden flames burning on its shoulders. Fellow Taoist. As for the golden-robed Lin Ling who walked out, he also smiled and bowed towards Lin Ling. Fellow Taoist. Lin Ling also bowed. This was the power of avatars of the true body. These avatars had their own thoughts, just like a Tao tree blooming and bearing fruit. In fact, there were many types of avatars of the true body. Lin Ling cultivated the nascent soul Tao physique. If a Tao tree grew, it would take 3,000 years to sprout, 3,000 years to bloom, and 3,000 years to bear fruit. And now, Lin Ling had cultivated to the realm of sprouting in 3,000 years. Of course, if it wasn't for the Xianyuan treasure book's reminder, Lin Ling wouldn't have been able to succeed so quickly. 2 avatars. Staring at the 2 Lin Ling, Pure White Maiden's eyes became more focused. She had to admit that she was inferior to him in terms of avatars of the true body. Although these avatars only had 90% of Lin Ling's strength, because they had their own thoughts, their combat strength was not weak. They were much more powerful than the avatars she encountered in the past. Pure White Maiden even knew that the strongest avatars of the true body could cultivate on their own, and this was the terrifying part of them. Think about it. The true bodies of the true body to cultivate of the true body to grow. The Xianyuan book didn't. 2 of. No wonder. Pure White Maiden nodded. Then she suddenly asked, how did you succeed? Someone taught me. She has succeeded. So she told me everything she knew. She passed on all her insights to me. Lin Ling did not hide anything. This person, I'm afraid he has a powerful background. Pure White Maiden was shocked. She was even more curious about Lin Ling. She knew that people who could cultivate avatars of the true body must have a powerful background. If they were not from the ancient times, then they must be from the age of gods. She never would have thought that a mere junior from the 9 prefectures void would know such an ancient figure. She also knew why Lin Ling did not panic when he saw her for the first time. Although I'm a little surprised, I guess even the ancient times are no match for me. Then, Pure White Maiden smiled confidently. She did not want to lose face in front of Lin Ling. Maybe. Lin Ling did not comment. In his square prison, there were countless ancient giant beasts. Even Pure White Maiden's father was there. How could he not be as ancient as Pure White Maiden? It was just that Lin Ling was too lazy to talk about it. Your appearance and aura are too unique. You'd better hide it. Lin Ling suggested. Pure White Maiden was an ancient deity who had survived the divine world. If others knew about her origin, they would be scared out of their wits. This would not be of much help to Lin Ling. On the contrary, it would be more effective to catch him off guard. As long as Pure White Maiden dived into the water, Lin Ling could see clearly who was going to harm him. Okay. Whitewater Pure Maiden was the progenitor of the godly land of Broken Realm. She didn't want too many mortals to see her face, so she waved her hand and covered her face with a white veil. Her aura disappeared as well, and her cultivation became the same as Lin Ling's. That's the best. Lin Ling nodded and finally left the Kaiyuan River with Pure White Maiden. In the distance, the ancient void came into view. In the darkness, stars twinkled as if they were telling the secrets of this ancient void. Staring at the endless void, Lin Ling sighed in his heart. I'm finally back. The void of the 9 continents was vast and boundless. However, this was the place where Lin Ling grew up. Lin Ling also left behind countless footprints of his battles. In the past, he had a wish to soar in the void one day and no one could stop him. Today, he had finally achieved it. If it was not for the appearance of the world consciousness, Lin Ling could have retired and returned to his hometown to live a carefree life. Unfortunately, the world consciousness was also Lin Ling's archenemy. It would not let Lin Ling live. Therefore, Lin Ling's goal was to fight with the world consciousness until the day he became the most ancient giant beast in the primordial era. Follow me. Lin Ling walked along the void. Pure White Maiden, who was behind him, glanced at the void and nodded slightly. She was naturally familiar with the void of the 9 prefectures. When she was in the godly land of destruction all those years ago, she had always paid attention to the void of the 9 prefectures. Unfortunately, the void of the 9 prefectures was very weak at that time. Besides the 4 great gods, no one else was worth mentioning. Even the 4 great gods were only so-so. However, now, the void of the 9 continents had matured with countless gods. There were also many gods as powerful as orthodoxies. At some point in time, it was not much weaker than the broken divine land. This ancient void rose up after the god world was shattered. However, after its rise, it became unstoppable. Pure White Maiden thought. She looked at the man in front of her. She was very clear that among the rising stars of the 9 continents, there was no one more terrifying than this man. Chapter 45-42. Lin Ling, I think you should hand over the key to the 8th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace and let everyone enter the 8 gods' heavenly palace together. But at this moment, the space in front of him turned illusory and a large number of experts appeared before him. Spirit Nation experts. There were about 50 of them and 40% of them had the strength of a god while 60% had the strength of a god. Moreover, these experts with the strength of a god were only slightly weaker than the Kurishin. Some of them were even weaker than the Kurishin. How much weaker? And the one leading them was Lord Ning. The Spirit Nation's method of nurturing gods is too powerful. Staring at the group of experts in front of him, Lin Ling did not panic but sighed inwardly. Now, there were countless experts in the Lei Gong Hall. Other than Grandpa Treasure God, there was also the Giant Tortoise, Emperor God Zhang Gang, Young Qilin, Big Brother, Young Yao, Dream Flow, and other gods. Even though their growth was fast, they could not compare to the Spirit Nation. Lin Ling, I heard that you returned from the godly land of the Broken Realm and found the key to the 8th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Therefore, I hope you will hand it over. Of course, our Spirit Nation will not take it for ourselves but will share it with all of you. Lord Ning stared at Lin Ling and said again. His expression looked calm but his heart was shocked because he realized that Lin Ling had reached the late-stage lower god realm. One must know that in the ear-holding ox cave not long ago, Lin Ling was only a mid-stage lower god. It seemed that any logic was useless against Lin Ling. Moreover, after Lin Ling's strength increased, although he suppressed it well and no one could see how strong he was, Lord Ning still felt a sense of pressure. It was as if the current Lin Ling was not much weaker than him and was the number 1 expert in the Lei Gong Hall on the same level as Nanwu Fengyu Treasure God. How do you know that I have the key to the 8th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace? Lin Ling glanced at the crowd and said indifferently. How dare you speak to Lord Ning like that? Slap him. Suddenly, an angry roar came from behind Lord Ning. The one who spoke was a domineering young man. He was 2 meters tall and had long hair like lightning. His upper body was bare but there were complicated runes on it. His strength was at the late-stage lower god realm. Lin Ling did not recognize this person. He should be a god that the Spirit Nation had recently nurtured. He. Lin Ling smiled, he ignored the young. What an arrogant Lei Gong Lin. The young man's eyes narrowed while the gods by his side narrowed their eyes as well, and then their auras surged out like bearing fangs and brandishing claws. They had naturally heard of Thunder Lord Lin Ling's name, but they were gods of Ling Kingdom and felt that Lin Ling was only so-so. Lin Ling's was of the Ling, this heavenly of the divine palace of the heavens, heavenly divine of the god of the gods of God realm? Lord Ning, you are a big shot of the spirit nation, aren't you? How can you allow your subordinate to speak so rudely? Lin Ling finally spoke at this moment. But Lord Ning still had a smile on his face. He faintly looked at Lin Ling, as if he wanted to know what sort of game Lin Ling was playing. However, he was about to be disappointed. The feeling the youth in front of him gave him was still as calm and confident as before. Although Lin Ling had reached the late-stage lower god realm, they had more gods on their side. Lord Ning had even personally come. Could Lin Ling stop them all by himself? No, there were two of them. However, the mysterious person behind Lin Ling was on par with Lin Ling in terms of strength. That was all there was to it. As expected of one of the four great gods, Lei Gong. Lei Gong is even more impressive than Lei Gong in the past. Lord Ning put away his thoughts and laughed loudly, slapped the person who spoke. Lin Ling's strength may not be as strong as mine, but he is still one of the 9 prefectures' 4 great deities. He called upon the 10,000 realms and unified the 9 prefectures. Do you think you are qualified to speak to him? My lord. The face of the young man who was reprimanded instantly changed. Was he going to slap him? He was a late-stage lower god and so was Lin Ling. What qualifications did Lin Ling have to be higher than him? Slap him. Lord Ning did not waste any more words. His laughter turned cold. All right. The young man gritted his teeth and slapped himself a few times. After that, he looked at Lin Ling with bloodshot eyes. If looks could kill, Lin Ling would have been chopped into 1,000 pieces. Obviously, he was not convinced. You think you are qualified to speak to me with your status? No wonder you are just cannon fodder of the spirit nation and can't be a commander. Your intelligence needs to be recharged. Lin Ling looked at the young man mockingly and shook his head. He looked at Lord Ning and said, Lord Ning, how did you know that I have the key to the 8th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace? I remember that not many people know of this secret. Do you want to know? Lord Ning looked at Lin Ling and said, as long as you share the key with us, I will tell you. The 8th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace hid a new world will host body. The great gods of the spirit nation naturally wanted to know. Forget it if you don't want to say. Anyway, I was just casually asking. Hearing this, Lin Ling shrugged his shoulders. There is no harm in telling you. Lord Ning did not hide anything. The person who told us this information is Taoist of many treasures. It's him. Lin Ling's eyes flashed. He had been curious about who had exposed the secret. The people who knew this secret were from the Great Hall of Lei Gong and the Dragon Race. The people from the Great Hall of Lei Gong would definitely not say, so he thought it was the Dragon Race. Now, it seemed that he had wronged the Dragon Race. However, for Taoist of many treasures to know such a secret, this old man was too powerful. Not long ago, our great gods of the spirit nation found Taoist of many treasures. After a discussion, Taoist of many treasures calculated it. Lord Ning said. Thank you. Lin Ling nodded and remembered this debt. This Taoist of many treasures dared to trick him, Lin Ling. He then looked at Lord Ning and said, this key was obtained by me with great difficulty. If you say you want to share it, then share it. Isn't this too cheap? Lin Ling, treasure god Nanwufengyu, that madman, is not here. You dare to bargain with me? Lord Ning smiled, but his smile was filled with majesty. That's right. However, Lin Ling nodded without the slightest fear. This caused Lord Ning to look deeply at Lin Ling, his heart filled with emotion. Back in Spirit Light City, Lin Ling had been nothing more than a trial challenger. At that time, he had seen how outstanding Lin Ling was, and his heart had been moved. He had wanted to recruit Lin Ling, but in the end, he had failed. In the following days, he watched Lin Ling grow continuously. After that, the chaos on the island of the Spirit Nation, and then the battle of the gods in the Ear Ox Cave. Lin Ling's talent was outstanding, and he not only led the Great Hall of Lei Gong to become famous, but also became an existence that the gods could not underestimate. And now, Lin Ling had the qualifications to bargain with him. Chapter 45-43. In their opinion, Lord Ning spoiled Lin Ling too much. That was why he was so easy to talk to. Alright, I can use treasures to exchange for it. Tell me, what treasures do you want? At this moment, Lord Ning spoke again. His words made the gods even more indignant. I don't lack treasures for the time being. Furthermore, I don't think you can afford the treasures I want. Lin Ling shook his head. He needed treasures to open his 8th dantian. However, it was obvious that the Spirit Nation couldn't afford such treasures. I want Luli Empress as an exchange. How about that? Lin Ling said again. Luli Empress? Lord Ning's expression didn't change. He smiled and said, didn't you kill her? Lord Ning, Luli Empress isn't dead. I know that too. Therefore, let's be frank. Lin Ling smiled. His words made Lord Ning's eyes narrow. Luli Empress wasn't dead. Not many people knew about this secret. How did Lin Ling know? Suddenly, a chill rose in his heart. The Spirit Nation had been secretly controlling Lin Ling. They knew Lin Ling's every move. However, he didn't expect that Lin Ling was also controlling the Spirit Nation's every move. How terrifying. Lord Ning felt a sense of terror rise in his heart. It was as if his entire body had been seen through by someone. Furthermore, the person who saw through him was a rising star. Since we're being frank, I'll be frank too. Luli Empress isn't dead. She was resurrected by the Almighty. If you want her, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. Because, other than the Almighty of the Spirit Nation, I don't know where Luli Empress is and how she is now. Lord Ning said lightly. I guess you don't know either. How about this? Help me tell her that I, Lin Ling, am also waiting for her. I hope that she can come and see me within 3 years. I know that she's still alive. However, she must kill me in this lifetime. Lin Ling said to Lord Ning. 3 years? Alright, I will pass on your message. However, speaking of 3 years, Lin Ling, there is something I should tell you. Within 3 years, there will definitely be experts from the Chaos Realm coming here. This is what the great god of the Spirit Nation told me. Furthermore, I do not know what their intentions are, but I can. I'm sure one of their targets is you. Lord Ning suddenly said. His words caused Lin Ling to frown. Although he had already guessed that there would be powerhouses coming from the Chaos Realm, in the end this was only a guess. Thank you for the reminder, but I think the great god of Spirit Nation is also one of the targets of the Chaos Realm. Lin Ling said with a smile. These seemingly casual words caused Lord Ning's heart to tremble once more. He discovered that nothing could be hidden from Lin Ling. Lin Ling was indeed a man who would become a king or a god. It's a pity that you did not bring Luli Empress here. Therefore, if you want to obtain the key to the 8th level, you will need to fulfill another condition. How about this? You let one of your people fight with me. If I lose, we will share the key. How about that? Lin Ling proposed after pondering for a moment. All right. Lord Ning agreed immediately. If Lin Ling lost, he would hand over the key. If Lin Ling won, he would not ask for anything. This proposal was very fair. He turned around and looked at the gods behind him. The gods wanted to give it a try. All of them wanted to fight with Lei Gong Lin Ling and shake the Spirit Nation and the void of the 9 continents. Unfortunately, they also knew that this opportunity would depend on Lord Ning's decision. Yan Xuanyang, you're up. Lord Ning swept his gaze across and finally made a decision. The eyes of the gods who were called out lit up instantly. As for the other gods, they looked regretful as if they had missed out on a great opportunity. However, the one to fight was Yan Xuanyang. They were convinced because this person's strength was monstrous. He was the strongest god among them, just below Lord Ning. As for the god named Yan Xuanyang, she was a woman. She wore a long robe of the spirit nation and had a cold expression. When she walked out, she looked at Lin Ling calmly. There was not a trace of contempt in her eyes. It could be seen that this person did not become a god only by luck. Yan Xuanyang greets Lei Gong. The woman cupped her hands slightly at Lin Ling. Thank you for letting me win. Since the other party was so polite, Lin Ling did not neglect her. The main reason was that he could sense that this woman was not weak. She was probably not much weaker than the Kurishin. The only flaw was that she was too young. Can we begin? Let's begin. The two of them exchanged a few words and then activated their divine origin. On the other hand, Lin Ling did not use his innate talent. He only activated his divine origin. However, it was still shocking because Lin Ling's divine origin was too dense. He was like an ancient god. On the other hand, Yan Xuanyang's divine origin was obviously not as strong as Lin Ling's. However, her talent was terrifying. She was a first-tier intermediate god. This was the reason why she could laugh at the gods. Lei Gong Lin Ling, because you are strong, I will not hold back. If I have offended you, please forgive me. Yan Xuanyang opened her hands and a thunder swallow formed by thunder appeared behind her. The deafening sound of thunder was also heard. Looking at her arms, they were now covered in snakes of electricity. They were so powerful that even the void was torn apart, 110,000 divine points and an intermediate god's divine embryo. She is indeed not simple. Lin Ling nodded. Whoosh. Yan Xuanyang did not say anything else. She shot towards Lin Ling. Her hands were like knives, carrying lightning as they slashed towards Lin Ling. The terrifying thing was that her speed had reached 800,000 worlds. However, she did not know that Lin Ling's speed had reached 1,000,000 world speed even without using his innate talent. Bang! Ferocious thunder wings appeared behind Lin Ling's back. He moved his feet and dodged Yan Xuanyang's attack. Rumble. As soon as he disappeared, the void was slashed open by Yan Xuanyang. A huge crack appeared and unleashed an endless suction force, sucking in everything in the distance. Of course, this did not affect the gods. They were still staring at Lin Ling. What a fast speed. I'm afraid it is not slower than 800,000 world speed. I wonder if he has reached his limit. If he hasn't, then he is truly terrifying. The deities could only mutter to themselves, and their contempt for Lin Ling also lessened by a notch. 3 swallows opened the way. However, after Yan Xuanyang missed her attack, she caught up with Lin Ling. She crossed her arms and slashed towards Lin Ling again. Bang! Lin Ling threw out a punch to counter the intersecting slash. After the collision, a terrifying shockwave burst out. After the collision, Yan Xuanyang was shocked by the density of Lin Ling's divine energy. She did not know if Lin Ling had used his full strength. However, as the most dazzling god, her strength was not to be underestimated. After her attack failed, she shouted angrily, "Virgin Sparrow! Go!" Lightning suddenly burst out from her crossed arms and wreaked havoc in the void. Crackle. The void turned into a pool of lightning. Lin Ling, who was in the pool of lightning, showed a painful expression. Then, everything was destroyed. Dead? Chapter 45-44. Oh no. Yan Xuanyang's pupils constricted. He could not react in time and was hit by Lin Ling's finger. Bang! 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 After a series of explosions, Yan Xuanyang, who was hit by Lin Ling's finger, turned into ashes and scattered with the wind. How could he be so powerful? Didn't Lin Ling die earlier? How did he suddenly appear behind Yen Sunyang? What a terrifying finger. I'm afraid his divine energy has reached a level where it can destroy everything. Yen Sunyang lost? This sudden turn of events had undoubtedly caused all the gods to gasp. Because even though the battle between the two of them seemed to have only lasted for a short period of time, the level of danger within it had long since exceeded their imaginations, and it had even exceeded the scope of their ability to endure. It could be seen that Lei Gong Lin Ling was much stronger than them. Only Lord Ning had an unfathomable smile on his face. However, almost at the same time, Lin Ling spoke calmly, "What a powerful talent. I almost missed it. Lei Gong Lin Ling, your eyesight is also very good. I thought I could hide it from you, but it seems that it's impossible." Just as Lin Ling finished his words, the lightning in the void reassembled and a figure appeared quietly. It was Yen Sunyang. At this moment, not only was she fine, but her aura was also twice as strong as before. This change shocked all the gods once again. This was because Lin Ling and Yen Sunyang were both illusionary and illusory at the same time. No one could tell which was real and which was fake. Previously, Lin Ling was clearly defeated. However, Lin Ling turned the tables and killed Yen Sunyang. When everyone thought that Yen Sunyang was defeated, Yen Sunyang appeared again. Not only was she fine, but her strength was also twice as strong. As expected of a god who was personally taught by a god of the spirit nation. A god said in admiration. If not for the appearance of Luli Empress, Yen Sunyang would have been cultivating with a god of the spirit nation. Unfortunately, that opportunity was snatched away by Luli Empress. Someone else said. Gods who can be personally taught by the great god of the spirit kingdom are existences that cannot be underestimated. To date, there are no more than 50 gods who have been personally taught by the great god of the spirit kingdom. Everyone else had a look of reverence on their faces. They now knew why Yen Sunyang was given such an important position. As Lin Ling listened to the gods, his gaze also landed on Yen Sunyang. He knew that Yen Sunyang was the strongest among the gods. Lei Gong Lin Ling, in this lifetime, I will never lose to the same move twice. Previously, you killed me with a single finger. This move is no longer effective against me. At this moment, Yen Xuanyang also spoke coldly. Really? Lin Ling shook his head. Although I don't know what kind of divine ability you used to suddenly increase your strength, if I want to defeat you, it's still just a finger technique. I hope you can still say that later. Yen Xuanyang nodded. She had learned from the previous battle that Lin Ling possessed heaven-defying strength among late-stage low gods. Unless one possessed a mid-god divine embryo, one would not be qualified to fight him. Return of the Great Tao. Yen Xuanyang no longer concealed her trump card. Boom. 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 Following her voice, her divine energy surged crazily, and so did her divine energy. It had actually reached 200,000. Countless lightning swallows were flying around her as though she was the swallow's nest. These lightning swallows were not to be underestimated, as they could easily obliterate gods. Divine steps. Lin Ling's eyes flashed. That's right. My divine steps can double my attack power. Yen Xuanyang said proudly without hiding anything. With your current strength, I'm afraid that even the Kurishin cannot defeat you. If placed in the void of the 9 prefectures, it wouldn't be difficult for you to become the 5th god. Lin Ling continued, unfortunately, your divine steps have a time limit. Lin Ling's words made Yen Xuanyang frown. She did not expect Lin Ling to see through her trick. However, she smiled proudly and said, so what if I know? Although it's only for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, with my strength doubled, it's more than enough for me to defeat you. The current me, other than seniors like Lord Ning, among late-stage low gods, I can defeat you. Lei Gong Lin Ling, I'll give you a chance to admit defeat. Otherwise, don't blame me if you die. Hee, why don't you think that I'm already a senior like Lord Ning? Lin Ling smiled. No one knew that he was already stronger than Black Deity and the others even before he had reached the late-stage lower deity realm, let alone now. After all, he did not have the ability to fuse his innate talents. Of course, he still did not need to fuse his innate talents when facing Yan Xuanyang. Shameless boasting. Yan Xuanyang said no more. Her body trembled and the lightning sparrows on her body pounced on Lin Ling. Her speed reached 1,000,000 world speed and her strength reached 200,000 strands of godly energy. Whoosh! 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 Lin Ling's speed exploded as he dodged the lightning sparrows. But soon, a large number of lightning sparrows arrived, leaving Lin Ling with no way out. Split! At such a crucial moment, Lin Ling no longer held back. His avatars burst out. Bang! 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 Countless of Lin Ling's avatars appeared and fought against the lightning sparrows. From afar, it was as though a large group of ancient gods had suddenly appeared. This Lin Ling has cultivated 3,000 avatars. Lord Ning's body trembled when he saw those avatars. Of course, compared to his surprise, Pure Maiden who was watching from afar was even more surprised. Because only she knew how long Lin Ling had cultivated the clones of avatars, and he'd actually cultivated 3,000 clones in such a short period of time. Boom! Boom! However, the 3,000 avatars had 90% of Lin Ling's strength. Obviously, they were not enough to withstand 200,000 strands of godly energy. Hence, the avatars continued to explode. Fellow cultivators, disperse. Okay. The remaining avatars spoke to each other and then scattered in all directions. Trying to escape. Yan Xuanyang knew that she had very little time. Hence, she had to use this time to defeat Lin Ling. She urged more lightning sparrows to pursue Lin Ling. Boom! One avatar exploded. Bang! Another avatar exploded. Bang! 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 More and more avatars exploded. Yan Xuanyang's divine steps was an attack-type technique. However, it was obviously very terrifying and heaven-defying. It was definitely at the elementary level. Especially when combined with her innate talent, her strength was incomparably ferocious. Lei Gong Lin Ling can't resist at all. Of course. Just you wait. If Lin Ling doesn't admit defeat, he'll definitely die. Those avatars actually have their own thoughts. That's really impressive. However, there are fewer and fewer of them now. The gods in the distance stared fixedly at the intense battle, their emotions surging with excitement. Boom! As the last avatar exploded, the entire void once again belonged to Lin Ling. Did I win? Yan Xuanyang could feel the power of the divine steps weakening. She revealed an excited smile. That's not necessarily true. Now is your weakest moment. Sorry, you've lost. However, at this moment, a figure strangely walked out of the void and pointed a finger at Yan Xuanyang. Chapter 45-45. Could it be that all the clones from before were fake in order to exhaust Yan Xuanyang's energy? When Yan Xuanyang was at his weakest, this Lei Gong launched a fatal attack. Looking at the sudden arrival of Lin Ling, a god said solemnly. His heart was pounding like thunder. These two people's combat power and battle experience were too rich. Their strength also surpassed the gods, so that kind of battle was not something they could understand. Yan Xuanyang was taught by the gods of Spirit Nation, but he was still defeated by Lin Ling. This Lei Gong is really not simple. The discussion seemed to be slow, but in fact, it happened in an instant. At the same time, they sighed and shook their heads. They did not expect Yan Zhuhui to lose. It's not over yet. Experienced hunters know that the counterattack of the prey before death is the most terrifying. Yan Xuanyang is not an ordinary hunter. How could he not know the counterattack of the prey? Only Lord Ning's eyes flickered slightly. What a powerful clone. It's hard to distinguish the real from the fake. This should be Lei Gong's ultimate trump card. Unfortunately, I have been waiting for you in the end. At this moment, Yen Sun-yang slowly turned around. Her cold voice floated out from her mouth. Her strength, which had been retreating, suddenly increased again. Similarly, she pointed out a finger. Her finger was like a thunderbolt as it blasted out. Her divine energy skyrocketed again, restoring her strength to twice its previous level. What? This sudden scene caused the gods' faces to change drastically. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. This sentence appeared in their minds. Bang! The two fingers collided in the void. A destructive force gushed out in all directions. Lin Ling's attack was obviously unable to block Yen Sun-yang's attack. After the collision, his finger instantly cracked. At the same time, Yen Sun-yang's thunderbolt finger appeared in front of Lin Ling's neck. It was as if she could take Lin Ling's life with one move. My god's steps have doubled my strength. Unless you are an intermediate god, you will not be able to block my finger. Even if a senior like Kurishin was here, he would not be able to reverse the situation. Therefore, Lei Gong Lin Ling, you have lost. Yen Sun-yang pointed her finger at Lin Ling and said indifferently. Endless thunderbolts were wreaking havoc at her finger. The attack caused Lin Ling's body to twitch. His face was very pale, and a mouthful of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. I can't accept this. Lin Ling raised his head and said. Gritted his teeth. You can't accept this because your name has shaken the void. You can't accept losing to a nameless person like me. Unfortunately, although I, Yen Sun-yang, am a nameless person, my foundation is not weak. Not only have I received guidance from the great god of the spirit nation, I also came from the era of the gods. I am a divine fetus left behind after the twilight of the gods. However, due to the impact of the War of the Gods, my divine fetus was not born. 100,000 years ago, the great god of the spirit nation stepped into the realm of the gods and brought me back. He then awakened me and trained me. You can say that I am a spirit. A chess piece hidden in the dark by the spirit nation. Now, you understand. Yen Sun-yang said indifferently. She was actually a god from the era of the gods. However, at that time, she had not been born. However, she already possessed the bloodline and inheritance of the gods. This was also the first time she revealed her origin, causing the gods in the distance to be shocked. No wonder Yen Sun-yang was able to surpass them time and time again despite his ordinary appearance. It turned out that Yen Sun-yang's origin was actually so terrifying. Admit defeat. Although you are the most wanted criminal in the spirit nation and I should kill you, Lord Ning is a man of his word. We have agreed that the key will be decided by the outcome of the battle. Therefore, I will spare your life. Yen Sun-yang said again. Lei Gong Lin Ling, you have lost. Lord Ning smiled faintly. He was not surprised by this result. This was because he knew that when Yen Sun-yang activated the steps of the gods, even he would have to avoid it, let alone Lin Ling. Now that he had witnessed Lin Ling's defeat, if Lin Ling's mentality was not good, it was possible that he would lose his will to fight. Hee hee. Thinking of this, Lord Ning nodded in satisfaction. Just as he was about to speak again, swoosh. 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 Suddenly, the space behind Lord Ning was torn apart. A figure walked out slowly with a majestic aura and pointed a finger at Yen Sun-yang. Yen Sun-yang did not notice this sudden change. When she reacted, she felt a chill on the back of her neck, as if she had been hit by a finger. Of course, it was just a touch. It did not attack her. You have lost. At the same time, a cold voice was heard, causing Yen Sun-yang to tremble. She could not help but stare at Lin Ling in front of her. The originally pained Lin Ling smiled and said, "I'm sorry, but this is not my real body." Yen Sunyang turned around and saw a cold man standing behind her. It was Lin Ling. This was the real Lin Ling. It turned out that the Lin Ling in front of her was also a fake. The real Lin Ling had just surfaced. With just one look, Yen Sunyang's body trembled. True and false, false and true. This was the true case of the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Just when she thought she had cleared the clouds and seen the blue sky, the real blue sky had just appeared. How could I have lost? Yen Sunyang mumbled to herself, as if she could not believe the result in front of her. She had awakened the steps of God at a young age and was born with a golden spoon in her mouth. However, the great god of Spirit Nation told her that she could not be born before becoming a god. Therefore, she had waited for this day for a long time. Under the guidance of the great god of Spirit Nation, she had learned to endure and accumulate strength. She thought that since she had followed Lord Ning to the void of the 9 prefectures, she would be able to make a great contribution and shake the entire void of the 9 prefectures. However, who knew that she would still lose, and lose miserably? Yen Zi, compared to Luli Empress, what you lack is a kind of foundation. This kind of foundation has nothing to do with your strength or talent. If you want to make an example, then it's fate. It's fine if you meet an ordinary person, but if you meet a real god, then you will lose. Yen Sunyang also remembered what the great god of Spirit Nation said to her. It meant that her strength and future were limitless. However, compared to the gods at the front line, she lacked a bit of foundation and a bit of fate. Of course, Yen Sunyang did not believe this. She thought that fate was in her own hands and that she could change any fate. Moreover, she was a god's fetus left behind from the age of gods. Whose fate could compare to hers? However, fate had told her that she had lost. She had lost to a seemingly ordinary person, but with an extraordinary identity, Lei Gong Lin Ling. I lost. Yen Sunyang raised her head and finally said unwillingly. She knew that if she did not admit defeat, Lin Ling's finger would pierce through her neck. In the current situation, she obviously could not resist. Most importantly, the power of her steps of God had weakened and was not enough for her to fight against Lin Ling. Hearing this, Lin Ling nodded and withdrew his finger. Chapter 45-46. This is the result of everyone's hard work. Lin Ling also bowed slightly to him. Then I'll take my leave first. That doppelganger seemed to be Lin Ling's friend. After saying that, it exploded and disappeared. Lin Ling also looked at Lord Ning and said with a smile, "Lord Ning, thank you for letting me win." After saying that, he walked towards Whitewater Maiden. Whitewater Maiden also quietly looked at Lin Ling walking over. She was still shocked because Lin Ling had cultivated 3,000 doppelgangers. Most importantly, the time required to cultivate 3,000 doppelgangers was only 1 day. She couldn't help but be curious about the ancient figure behind Lin Ling. Could it be Lin Ling's master? Lin Ling, wait. Suddenly, Lord Ning's voice sounded. Lin Ling also stopped in his tracks and looked at Lord Ning indifferently. Lord Ning seemed to want to say something but hesitated. His face gradually turned cold. Lord Ning, you want me to leave the key behind, right? Seeing Lord Ning's expression, Lin Ling could guess what was going on. He smiled and said, "Didn't I say that Lord Ning is a man of his words? Why are you going back on your words after losing?" This sentence was like a knife that ruthlessly stabbed into Lord Ning's heart. This was because he really wanted to snatch Lin Ling's key. After all, the great god of Spirit Nation had instructed him to get the key to the 8 gods' heavenly palace no matter what. Now that he returned empty-handed, he couldn't report back. Although going back on his words was different from Lord Ning's principles. In his heart, the Spirit Nation would always be the number 1. That's right, share the key with us. Lord Ning suddenly gritted his teeth and said shamelessly for the first time. Lei Gong, hand over the key. The other gods also threw caution to the wind and said shamelessly. They had many experts here, but there were only 2 Lin Ling. If they still could not bring back the key, they would be too ashamed to face anyone in the spirit kingdom. Looking at the restless crowd, Lin Ling calmly smiled. Lord Ning, I can tell you that it is impossible for you to obtain my key. But, if you really want to go back and report to your superiors, then on account of the help you gave me in Spirit Light City, I can tell you other methods. Hearing this, Lord Ning laughed contemptuously and said with a ferocious expression, Is that so? Unfortunately, I want your key. Let me give you a word of advice. If you really make a move, you will be the ones to suffer. Lin Ling was not afraid. Attack. Lord Ning didn't waste any more words. He summoned all the gods to attack. Yan Xuanyang was the only one who did not make a move. She felt that she had lost to Lin Ling and was too ashamed to fight against Lin Ling. After Lord Ning gave the order, he took the lead and pounced on Lin Ling. Terrifying divine vitality was spat out, forming a dazzling light around his body like a sea urchin. Behind him, the other gods also went all out, and none of them held back. Attack. Seeing this, Lin Ling shook his head and said to the White Maiden. The White Maiden nodded and said disdainfully, a bunch of ants who overestimate themselves. However, the conversation between the two almost made the other gods laugh. Attack? The 2 of them wanted to fight against so many of them? What a fool. Even Lord Ning's face was full of sarcasm. Just as he was about to say something, he saw that the one who attacked was the mysterious woman. Not only did Lin Ling not attack, but he also took a step back. One person wanted to fight against so many gods. Lord Ning was a little dumbfounded. Not to mention the woman, even Lin Ling could not stop all of them. Splash. But at this moment, the White Maiden gently waved her arm, and the water of the heavenly river flooded over, mixed with terrifying power, and rushed toward Lord Ning and the others. The rolling river water was like thousands of horses galloping. The power was so strong that it did not seem to come from the void of the 9 states, but from the era of the gods. In the river water, the power of the gods seemed to be endless. Oh no. Lord Ning's expression changed instantly. He wanted to dodge, but it was obviously too late. Rumble. When the heavenly river rushed over, Lord Ning, who was the fastest, could not control his body and was sent flying backward. He was submerged in the river water and spat out a mouthful of blood. Behind him, the gods who wanted to harm Lin Ling all changed their expressions and burst out with terrifying speed, wanting to escape from the heavenly river. Rumble. However, they were also submerged in the heavenly river and could not withstand a single blow. Don't kill him. At this time, Lin Ling also reminded. He was shocked by the White Maiden's strength because even Lin Ling would find it difficult to defeat Lord Ning with his full strength. However, the White Maiden only needed one move. They want to harm you. Why don't you kill them? The White Maiden said coldly. Lord Ning is Grandpa Treasure God's opponent. Leave him to Grandpa Treasure God. Lin Ling turned and left. The White Maiden curled her lips. To her, Lord Ning and the others were just ants. In the Spirit Nation, only the great god of the Spirit Nation made her afraid. However, since Lin Ling did not allow her to kill them, she was too lazy to do so. Count yourselves lucky. Whitewater Pure Maiden stared into the distance with disdain. She also followed Lin Ling. Rumble. The rolling water of the heavenly river rolled in the void, pushing Lord Ning and the others further and further away. They were almost at the Kaiyuan River, but the river water began to weaken. In the boiling water, Lord Ning and the others floated up and down, looking very miserable. Especially Lord Ning, his hair was messy and his clothes were torn. It was probably the first time in his life that he was in such a sorry state. Most importantly, the other party only waved her hand and he ended up like this. If she wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping her hand. The river water gradually dissipated in all directions. Lord Ning and the others floated in the void, as if they had just survived a disaster. They were all dumbstruck, as if they had not reacted yet. Good, 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 strong. After a long time, Lord Ning said in a dignified voice. Lord Ning, who is that woman? Isn't her strength a little too terrifying? She defeated all of us by herself. Could it be that she is a middle god? After the gods recovered from their shock, they all spoke. Lord Ning looked deeply at Lin Ling's departure and his heart became more serious. Now, there were several experts in the Lei Gong Hall. Nanwu Fengyu treasure god, the mysterious woman from before, and the missing Saint Gi. The Lei Gong Hall was not to be underestimated. Let's go back. Not daring to stay any longer, Lord Ning led the others away. However, when they returned to the void, they saw a piece of paper floating in the void. Other than that, there was only Yen Sunyang. She did not make a move before, so the white maiden did not touch her. Lord Ning, are you all okay? Yen Sunyang immediately asked when she saw the others coming back. Is this left by Lin Ling? Lord Ning did not answer Yen Sunyang's question. Instead, he stared at the piece of paper, waved his right hand, and received it. After looking at it carefully, his face changed. On the paper, it said that the other key was known by Taoist Duobao. Chapter 45-47. Taoist Myriad Treasures said that Lin Ling has the key to the 8th floor, but Lin Ling also said that Taoist Myriad Treasures has the key to the 8th floor. This Lin Ling is definitely paying back an eye for an eye. However, I'll trust Lin Ling this time and let Great God ask him. Lord Ning left with everyone. In fact, his guess was right. Taoist Myriad Treasures wanted to harm him, so how could Lin Ling not do anything? Thus, Lin Ling was also paying back an eye for an eye. At this time, Lin Ling brought White Pure Maiden closer and closer to the final world. Lin Ling looked at the ancient continent and suddenly smiled at White Pure Maiden. White Pure Maiden, I heard that you sing very well. Why don't you sing a song? Not everyone can listen to my songs. White Pure Maiden coldly snorted. Only Lin Ling could think of making an intermediate god like her sing. Didn't this servant listen to Master's words? Singing a song is already so difficult, yet you still want to help me? I think you should go back to the broken domain godly land. Lin Ling immediately smiled and said. Only this time, there won't be a next time. White Pure Maiden fiercely clenched her teeth and finally compromised. Gentlemen, please listen carefully for me. Bells, drums, and jade are not expensive. I only hope that you will be drunk forever and never wake up. Since ancient times, sages have been lonely, only those who drink leave their names behind. Kings of Qin used to hold banquets of peace and joy, drinking 10,000 cups of wine. Why do people say less? Listen carefully. Gentlemen, please don't stop drinking. Spend all your money and leave your name behind. You will be drunk forever and never wake up. Don't say that sages are lonely, there will always be time that is hard to pass. Don't say that the past days are bitter. Once the morning sun breaks through the smoke basket, let's drink another cup. The horizon is meaningless, there are not many words. You travel east with your sword. I pass by on a white horse. The melodious voice drifted with the wind and spread throughout the entire void. Lin Ling quietly listened. His heart was incomparably tranquil. A bit of carefreeness and boldness poured into his heart. You travel east with your sword, I pass by on a white horse. When the song ended, Lin Ling couldn't help but praise. He recalled the time when he was in the ancient Face sect, the Heaven Mystics Kingdom, and the sacred ground of the rainforest. A pot of wine, a sword, unfettered under the heavens. Let's go home. Lin Ling laughed and shot towards the final world, finally returning to the void where Lei Gong's palace was located. Lord Lei Gong. When Lin Ling returned, everyone was very happy. Lin Ling inspected the void. Everything was fine, and it was even more prosperous than before. After a long time, in the discussion hall of Lei Gong's great hall, Lin Ling sat at the head of the table. Below him were all the experts in Lei Gong's great hall. Everyone was looking at Lin Ling with eyes full of awe. Of course, they also saw the mysterious woman beside Lin Ling. They discovered that she was a late-stage low god, a god. Now, I have the key to the 8th level of the 8-god celestial palace. Lin Ling looked at everyone. Of course, most of them were looking at the giant ghost. Without a doubt, the giant ghost was very excited because he wanted to return to the 8-god celestial palace and see his master one last time. However, within these 3 years, I don't plan to enter. But at this time, Lin Ling spoke again. Then, he saw the confusion on everyone's face and explained, because in these 3 years, there will be experts coming. For safety reasons, I will enter the 8-god celestial palace after this matter is over. Lin Ling, where did these experts come from? Treasure god Nanwu Fengyu immediately asked. I think they are from the chaos world. Lin Ling recalled Lord Ning's words and explained. Chaos world, they are indeed coming. Treasure god Nanwu Fengyu had heard of the chaos world when he was in the Ji-Er Ox cave, so he wasn't surprised. Because the trip to the 8-god celestial palace will take a long time, if we leave, no one knows what will happen. Moreover, the chaos world is an unknown world, we have no clue what kind of experts they will send here. Therefore, it is best to wait for them here. Lin Ling added. Alright, I'll listen to Lord Lei Gong. Everyone understood Lin Ling's meaning and nodded. Lin Ling also looked at the giant ghost with an apologetic expression. It's fine, we have waited for so many years, another 2 or 3 years won't make a difference. The giant ghost also knew the importance of 3 years, so he waved his hand at Lin Ling. Lin Ling nodded, then looked at young Qilin and said, Young Qilin, go find the Kirishin, Titanic Crescent God, and the others. Tell them about this so that they can prepare in advance. Now that Lin Ling was the leader of the 4 gods, Lin Ling naturally wouldn't hide anything. Before the experts arrived, the 9 continents void would be unified. Of course, even so, he still felt some pressure. This was because Lin Ling didn't know what kind of experts were in the chaos world. From the experts that appeared in the Ji-Er Ox cave, the chaos world's strength must be beyond imagination. In the following days, Lin Ling didn't go anywhere. He stayed in Lei Gong's hall to cultivate. Occasionally, he would give pointers to his son, and occasionally accompany Yu and the others. His days were very peaceful. As for White Maiden, she didn't leave Lin Ling's hall, nor did she stay in Lei Gong's hall. Instead, she found a quiet place in the void to cultivate. Of course, she was also a little shocked by this vast void. She didn't know where Lin Ling found this place. Although there wasn't any spiritual energy in this void, she knew that if she used it properly, spiritual energy would be born in a place without spiritual energy. At that time, another void of the 9 prefectures would be born. Of course, this was easier said than done. At least with White Maiden's strength, she couldn't do this. Lin Ling didn't pay attention to White Maiden. During this period of time, he had been cultivating, but his progress was slow. This allowed Lin Ling to finally experience the feeling of being stuck at a bottleneck. However, Lin Ling wasn't in a hurry. He continued to accompany Yu and the others every day. He also sent out scouts to pay attention to the 9 continents void. On this day, a scout finally replied. A large number of experts had appeared in Yuzhou. Lin Ling even recognized the 2 leaders. They were the underworld demon sealer and other experts. These guys have appeared again. It seems that the storm is coming. Lin Ling knew that the underworld demon sealer and other experts wouldn't appear for no reason. In fact, after the underworld demon sealer and other experts appeared, another sensational news came. The Ox Demon clan of the Ji-Air Ox Cave had appeared. The seal of the Ji-Air Ox Cave seemed to have been completely broken. All the demons had arrived in the 9 continents void. Of course, in this chaotic situation, the Spirit Nation naturally came as well. Eugene also transmitted a message to Lin Ling, saying that they had discovered Luli Empress in the 9 continents void. Clearly, Lord Ning had passed Lin Ling's verbal order to Luli Empress. Therefore, the latter didn't hide anything and openly came to the 9 continents void. Her appearance was definitely filled with confidence, and her current strength was probably not weak at all. Let's go, our Lei Gong Hall should also surface. Chapter 45-48. This was the place where all the heroes of the 9 states appeared. Unexpectedly, they all gathered in the Spirit Province. It was as if someone had spread the news that an ancient god would appear in the Spirit Province. With so many experts appearing, the Spirit Province was in chaos. Most of the cultivators had left the Spirit Province, but there were still some who stayed behind. They wanted to see what was happening in the Spirit Province because they believed that the 4 gods wouldn't allow anything to happen to the Spirit Province. The cultivators of the Spirit Province are really stupid. They don't even know that the gods aren't so fun to watch. Men, kill all the cultivators of the Spirit Province. Now, there were many gods gathered in the Spirit Capital. They were all wearing heavy armors that emitted terrifying dark chi. Looking through the armors, one would find that there was nothing inside. It was very strange. After receiving the order, they walked out from a restaurant and their armor started to peel off. Then, they were shrouded in blue mist and flew away in different directions. Ah, what is this? No, no. At the same time, cries of pain could be heard. Those who were touched by the armor couldn't get rid of it and their life force was being sucked away. Put on. More and more cultivators fell to the ground. What was even more terrifying was that these cultivators died peacefully as if they weren't tortured at all. Dead, Headmaster Lu is dead. Far away, the passers-by stared at the fallen cultivators with pale faces. They died just like that, it was too strange. Shio shio shio. However, the armors were still flying in the air like a swarm of locusts. Where is the realm monarch? The Spirit Province is in chaos now, why isn't he here yet? Realm monarch, please use your ancient power to suppress the enemies. The cultivators were panicking and they shouted at the sky, hoping that the strongest celestial monarch of the Spirit Province would help them. Boom! However, a loud explosion came from the sky and a huge palace was shattered. It was pierced through by a broken piece of armor and that was the ancient power. The ancient power controlled by the realm monarch was also shattered and this shocked the cultivators. Pung! Then, a figure fell from the sky and when they looked closely, it was the realm monarch of the Spirit Province. Even the celestial monarch who ruled over the Spirit Province couldn't stop those strange armors. It was obvious that the Spirit Province was in danger. Beneath the gods, everything was just an ant. At this moment, this fact was clearly displayed. Peng peng peng. In just a short period of time, a corner of the vast Spirit Province was turned into a dead city. Looking carefully, the streets, alleys, restaurants, and inns were filled with people who were sleeping. Or more accurately, they were people who died in their sleep. A strange wind quietly pervaded the air. If there were still people alive who witnessed this scene with their own eyes, they would definitely be scared out of their wits. Marshal Uncle Xing, quickly. A middle-aged man beside the old man said worriedly. I don't know. I haven't seen that guy for many years. I don't know where he is now. The old man laughed bitterly. Aren't you his master? See if you have a way to inform him. The middle-aged man said again. I have a way to find him, but it will take some time. Look at the current situation. By the time I inform him, it will be too late. The old man shook his head helplessly. Someone heard the old man's words and asked curiously, "Martial Uncle Xing, who is Lin Ling? Can he help us? Even if that Lin Ling is here, he will still die." Lin Ling? What a familiar name. Could it be Lei Gong Lin Ling? But why would Lei Gong Lin Ling care about our lives? He is a god. At first, no one knew who Lin Ling was, but they gradually realized who he was. The middle-aged man saw that his disciple was nagging and immediately reprimanded. "What do you know?" In fact, Lei Gong Lin Ling was Martial Uncle Xing's disciple back then. Only the sect leader and a few elders know about this. Ah, Martial Uncle Xing is Lei Gong Lin Ling's master? What kind of joke is this? Obviously, no one believed it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's get out of here as soon as possible. The old man waved his hand and stopped talking about this topic. He was Xing Xiao Yun of the Spirit Province, the master who brought Lin Ling out of the Green Province back then. However, he rarely saw Lin Ling after that. To avoid becoming a burden to Lin Ling, he rarely told others that he was Lin Ling's master. Moreover, Lin Ling was now one of the 4 great gods, and he was only an elder of a sect. No one would believe him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. However, at that moment, several armor fragments locked onto them and shot down from the sky. Some of these armor fragments were boxing gloves, while others were knee pads. However, they were all wrapped in a wisp of blue light and emitted an evil aura. If one was touched by it, they would definitely die. We're being targeted. Quick, quick, quick. Everyone's expression changed drastically. However, with their speed, how could they escape the pursuit of the armor in the sky? I'm afraid we're going to die. Everyone's hearts were dead. They never thought that they would encounter such a disaster on their rare trip to the Spirit Province. "Sir, this is the void of the 9 province, not the underworld." However, at that moment, a dazzling golden light bloomed in the sky. A dragon roared and swept across the armor. The huge dragon tail swept across, and with a few bangs, the armor was all turned into dust. At the same time, countless divine dragons appeared in the sky above the Spirit Province. Their dazzling light illuminated this part of the world. "Dragon, this is a real dragon." All the warriors in the Spirit Province knelt down. They were shocked and excited. The dragon race of the Kaiyuan River? Almost at the same time, a hoarse voice sounded from a certain direction in the city. Then, a silent gray light rushed into the sky, causing the entire city to shake. Then, a large number of figures floated in the sky. These people were all wearing armor, but their faces couldn't be seen clearly. It was as if they were all underworld knights. Only 2 of them were comparable to humans, but their auras were a bit terrifying. Chapter 45-49. Hee, looks like the news spread by the Taoist of many treasures has reached the Kaiyuan River. Even the Dragon Clan has come. You must be the dragon god of the Dragon Clan. In the distance, the underworld berserker stared at the dragon god with a smile. He was more or less curious about a legendary figure like the dragon god. You also received news from the Taoist of many treasures? The dragon god narrowed his eyes at the underworld berserker. Hee, there are quite a few gods who have received this news. Just wait, there will be even more gods coming. The underworld berserker said sinisterly. Let's not talk about this for now. You are an ancient god, so why are you killing these mortals? The dragon god asked again. What does it have to do with the dragon clan that I'm killing these mortals? Everyone below the gods are ants. Who knows how many people die in the void every day? Why don't you care? The underworld berserker said disdainfully. Although he was facing the dragon god, he was clearly not afraid. I don't care about other places, but this is Brother Lin Ling's territory. You killed his people here, so I have to care. The dragon god immediately said, his voice becoming colder. Hee, Since when did the noble dragon clan have a relationship with Lin Ling? This Lin Ling isn't strong at all, but he's good at making connections. However, since you don't want me to kill them, I'll kill them. Anyway, waiting for an ancient god is boring, so let's play. The underworld berserker pointed at the ground. The underworld berserker around him exploded, turning into countless sets of armor that flooded the ground. Dragon clan, heed my order. Destroy them. The dragon god saw how arrogant the underworld berserker was, so he no longer gave him any face. Roar. Countless dragon gods swooped down from the sky, sweeping away the armor. These dragon gods were so powerful that they immediately shattered the armor, causing the underworld berserker's expression to turn ugly. The dragon tribe really knows how to flatter. In the past, I didn't see you meddling in the matters of the void of the 9 regions. Now that the Thunder God Palace has risen, you are flattering the Thunder God Palace like dogs. It's really ugly. However, others may be afraid of the dragon tribe, but I am not. However, at that moment, the ground in the distance shook. Demons danced wildly, and a large number of mad bulls rushed over, as if they were about to destroy the entire spirit province. Ear Ox Cave, Ox Demon Clan. Bang bang bang. Amidst the endless raging bulls, a gigantic ox demon that towered into the clouds strode forward. With each step, the spirit province trembled, and the ground continued to crack. Demons, 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 demons. The underworld berserker, the continent's warriors were demons, of course, they had never seen such a scene demon like this. In the sky, there were ancient dragons. On the ground, there were bull demons that came out of nowhere. There were also ghost-like armors. The spirit province had become a living hell. In the end, the cultivators of the spirit state were not gods, and they could not defend against the apocalyptic methods of these gods. It's you, old ox. The dragon god recognized the ox demon clan's leader, and his expression darkened. With the ox demon clan joining the fray, the dragon clan would have a hard time fighting against 2 gods at the same time. Dragon clan, I'm here to help you. However, there were many gods in the spirit province. Suddenly, a large number of Taoists in immortal robes appeared in the distance. They stepped on rainbow-colored lights and flew over quickly. They were from the 10 orthodoxies. The demon sealer of the underworld and the ox demon tribe's clan leader narrowed their eyes when they saw the 10 orthodoxies. Back in the Ji-Air Ox Cave, they had seen the 10 orthodoxies and knew how powerful these 10 gods were. However, the 10 orthodoxies had always minded their own business. Why would they help the dragon clan? For a moment, the 2 gods were at each other's throats, as if a great battle would break out at any moment. How lively! Suddenly, a huge battleship appeared in the distance. Upon closer inspection, the battleship looked like a boundless island. On the battleship, a large number of deities in white robes appeared. They were the experts of the spirit nation. On the battleship, there were 4 experts standing at the head of the battleship. They all had capes draped over their shoulders, and they exuded a majestic aura. One of them was Lord Ning, but the other 3 looked unfamiliar. However, the dragon god and the others had dealt with the spirit nation before. They knew that the other 4 were the 4 great spiritual gods of the spirit nation. They were also the 4 strongest gods below the great gods. According to legend, the 4 of them were half a step into the intermediate god realm. It was almost certain that they would become intermediate gods. There were only 2 known intermediate gods in the void who had such strength. It really is a gathering of all sorts. The dragon god could not help but sigh. After the appearance of the spirit nation, the demon sealer of the underworld and the ox demon clan did not dare to be too arrogant. They had a feeling that as time passed, more and more gods would arrive. Everyone is here. How have you all been since we parted at the Ji-Air Ox Cave? Sure enough, more gods appeared in the distance. They were the Black Dragon, Old Man Fo Chen, and the other gods. They were also the powerhouses who appeared at the Ji-Air Ox Cave. After their arrival, the immortal spirit nation also appeared. Next was the mysterious god ruler of the Yu continent. The leader was an old man standing on a green lotus. He had an immortal aura around him. He was the green lotus god ruler. The dragon race had heard of the Yu continent's divine overlord before, but they had never come into contact with him. They only knew that this group of gods from the era of gods were very low-key, as if they were waiting for something. Unless it was a major event, they would not come out. Most of the gods from the Ji Air Ox cave are here now. But don't tell me that the so-called great gods from the ancient era are ants like you. The old man with an immortal aura sat down on the green lotus and looked down on everyone. Old ghost, what nonsense are you spouting? Slap yourself 3 times. A dignified voice came from the warship in the sky. The old man next to Lord Ning spoke coldly. This was the spiritual god. The old man glanced at the warship and said with disdain, "Who do you think you are? Don't think that you are qualified to talk to me just because we both came from the era of gods. Back when I was called Ancient God Green Lotus, you were probably still drinking milk. How dare you talk to Lord Wei like that? Are you looking to die?" Someone behind the spiritual god shouted angrily. It was an expert with the strength of a god. He said to the spiritual god, "Lord, please allow me to teach him a lesson." He insulted Ling Nation. Ling Nation can't swallow this humiliation. The domain enlightened spirit god immediately nodded. Lord Ning's eyes flickered, and he seemed to want to say something. However, he didn't speak in the end. Perhaps he was very curious about Azure Lotus Immortal Overlord's strength as well, and he wanted to see how strong Azure Lotus Immortal Overlord was. You overestimate yourself. The old man on the green lotus shook his head in disdain and flicked his finger when he saw the god pouncing over. Chapter 45-50. Silence. The spirit state was silent. Whether it was the people far away or the gods in the spirit state capital, all of their expressions changed drastically. To be able to kill a god with a single move, this green lotus immortal slayer's strength is simply too terrifying. Could it be the strength of an intermediate god? On the huge battleship, Lord Ning and the others focused their gazes and had a rough understanding of the green lotus deity sovereign's strength. That was terrifying. Perhaps only the great gods of Spirit Nation could fight against him. Legend has it that this person was formed from the green lotus of Tao. Back then, he became the Grandmaster Grand Tutor's disciple during the Age of Gods. He is the only god who survived the Grandmaster Grand Tutor's disciple. Now, it seems that his strength is truly terrifying. The dragon god thought. He knew that there would be a lot of twists and turns in the gathering of the gods in the spirit state today. I don't have time to waste my breath with you juniors. Now, let's just wait obediently for the ancient great god to arrive. I want to see if the ancient great god who spread the rumors is an old friend of mine. I also have a few important things to ask him. The green lotus deity sovereign closed his eyes again and sat cross-legged in the sky. The gods around him guarded him. His expression was full of holiness as if he was looking down on the void. Time quietly passed. With the appearance of the green lotus deity sovereign, the 9 provinces became much quieter. However, not long after, a voice quietly sounded in the sky. It seems that we're late. A large group of gods stepped on 7 colored clouds and arrived in a grandiose manner. They were the hosts of the 9 prefectures' 4 great gods. They were the Kurishin, Titanic Crescent God, and Eugene. How slow. Could it be that they're afraid of losing face, so they're so slow? Staring at the Kurishin and the others, a sinister voice suddenly sounded from the crowd. The 9 provinces is the world of the 4 great gods. As the masters, they're so slow. If it's not fear, then what is it? What 4 great pieces of trash? Another person mocked. The Kurishin and the others naturally heard those voices. They had smiles on their faces and didn't care. In truth, they also knew that the gods of the 9 provinces were gathered here. The 4 great gods of the 9 provinces were very ordinary here. There were many gods more powerful than them. Where's Lei Gong? Don't tell me he doesn't dare to appear. Suddenly, someone spoke. Strangely enough, the entire spirit province fell silent as soon as he spoke. In a faraway place, the cultivators from the 9 prefectures were also breathing rapidly. Lei Gong Lin Ling. The number 1 person in the void of the 9 prefectures was recognized as the overlord of this void. This was a powerhouse who had grown step by step from a trial taker. After going through numerous trials and challenges, he was finally acknowledged as the number 1 king among the 4 great gods. Although this news wasn't announced by the 4 gods, many people had more or less noticed it over the years. If Lei Gong were to appear, would you still dare to speak in such a tone? The Kurishin suddenly sneered. He realized that the speaker seemed to be from the Ox Demon clan. As soon as he spoke, the Ox Demon clan fell silent. Clearly, the person who had spoken harshly earlier was silent and didn't dare to speak. Lei Gong Lin Ling, how amazing is he? If I remember correctly, when Lin Ling saw the ancient gods in the Ear Ox Cave, he could only run away like a rat crossing the street. The Ox Demon clan was still silent, but the demon sealer of the underworld said sarcastically. Ever since he lost to Lin Ling in the 8-god celestial palace, the demon sealer of the underworld had always wanted to redeem himself. Unfortunately, every time he became stronger, Lin Ling also became stronger, causing him to suppress his humiliation. Now that he saw the gods and his strength had increased greatly, he naturally wanted to hit Lin Ling while he was down. Yes, under the sacred mountain, during the battle of the stone tablets, that brat only dared to do some sneaky things while the gods were fighting. Beside him, a pitch-black woman with 4 arms said sarcastically. She was from the south tomb of the underworld and had met Lin Ling once in the 8-god celestial palace. Ha, sneaky things, what a nice way to put it. At this time, the voice of the Ox Demon clan sounded again. Looking carefully, it turned out to be the young master of the Ox Demon clan. No wonder he hated Lin Ling so much. Lin Ling had made him lose face time and again. Ha ha ha. After he laughed, the demons of the Ox Demon clan also laughed heartily. This also caused the gods to laugh more or less. Obviously, these people had a grudge against Lin Ling. Now that they saw Lin Ling's sudden rise, they felt very depressed. Therefore, at this moment, they took advantage of the gods' presence to vent their displeasure. I'm sneaky? This is the first time I, Lei Gong Lin Ling, have heard of such a thing. I'm very curious, who thinks I'm sneaky? However, at this time, a hearty voice suddenly sounded. The voice was not loud, but it was like a thunderclap. It caused the entire spirit province, and even the entire Jojo, to fall silent. Lin Ling is here. On the huge warship, Lord Ning quietly narrowed his eyes. In his eyes, under the distant sky, a large group of experts strolled over. These were the experts of the Great Hall of Lei Gong. The man in the lead was dressed in a blue robe and carried a large sword on his back. His calm eyes looked ahead, but there was a sense of majesty in them, as if a divine king had arrived. Lin Ling. The people who were laughing before all stopped laughing at this moment. No matter how much they looked down on Lin Ling, when Lin Ling personally appeared in front of them, they still felt a huge pressure. At the end of the day, it was Lin Ling's battle achievements. Lin Ling's glory, Lin Ling's brilliance, was too dazzling. In any battle between the gods, Lin Ling's shadow was bound to be present. Just as people had thought, Lin Ling had already become a top cultivator in the 9 states step by step from a mere trial taker to an irresistible top cultivator. Moreover, in the hearts of the gods, Lin Ling's strength was also very strong. Back then, he was only a mid-stage low god, but he was already able to fight against a late-stage low god. If Lin Ling was allowed to reach late-stage low god, his strength would definitely be unimaginable. Lin Ling, Lei Gong Lin Ling. As expected, the strongest of the JoJo's 4 great gods is Lei Gong Lin Ling. In a distant place, the warriors from the JoJo's 9 prefectures were in high spirits. Now, in any of the JoJo's 9 prefectures, there were legends and footsteps of Lin Ling. It was as if every household knew about him. Lin Ling, you're so powerful. At this moment, in the world capital, a group of young people was extremely excited. They felt that they were extremely lucky to be able to meet this legendary figure. Uncle Master Xing, didn't you say that Lin Ling was once your disciple? Now that you've seen Lin Ling, do you still dare to say that? One of the disciples looked at an old man and said. The old man smiled awkwardly. Although Lin Ling was his disciple, he was just an insignificant mortal, while his disciple was already the strongest god in the JoJo. How would he dare to acknowledge him? I knew Uncle Master Xing was bragging. Seeing the old man's expression, the disciple immediately curled his lips and said. Chapter 45-51. Master, why are you here? At this moment, a surprised voice came from the sky. It was Lin Ling's voice. Moss. Master? The disciples beside Xing Xian turned their heads and looked at the person who spoke. Then, they rubbed their eyes frantically, afraid that they had seen wrongly. This was because they saw that the person who spoke was Lei Gong Lin Ling, who had led Lei Gong Lin Ling to the main hall. Although this was their first time seeing Lin Ling, from the reactions of the gods around them, he was indeed the number 1 god of the 9 prefectures' 4 great gods. And now, such a high and mighty god was calling Uncle Master Xing his master? When we first entered the sect, we heard that Uncle Master Xing had a very impressive disciple. But after so many years, we have never seen him. We thought it was a joke. What joke? This is real, it's real. Uncle Master Xing's disciple is really Lei Gong Lin Ling. We didn't believe Uncle Master Xing's words before. The disciples trembled in excitement and reverence. Of course, Xing Xian was equally excited. He knew that Lin Ling was not an ungrateful person, but he did not expect that Lin Ling would take the initiative to acknowledge him in front of so many gods. Moreover, Lin Ling's tone was extremely polite. One had to know that the gods present were all powerful. Any one of them was thousands of times more powerful than him. How could a mere mortal like him have the right to stand out? Xing Xian was touched, but he immediately smiled and said, I was just passing by. Are you all right? Lin Ling asked again. I'm fine. What could happen to us? Xing Xian waved his hand. However, a disciple beside him said, Uncle Master, we are Uncle Master Xing's disciples. We almost died just now. Oh. Lin Ling frowned. His careless action gave the disciple a fright. He was afraid that he had said something wrong. Chai Jiao, who allowed you to speak nonsense? Xing Xian grumbled. He could tell that even though Lin Ling was the number 1 immortal in the 9 prefectures, he was still not qualified to make the other immortals fear him. Now that disciple had said this, Lin Ling was caught between a rock and a hard place. He couldn't afford to offend those immortals, but neither could he afford to offend them. However, Lin Ling didn't say anything. His cold eyes looked at the gods in the distance, and he instantly knew who had attacked. It was because the ground was covered with sleeping corpses, and there was nether energy within the corpses. This meant that the ones who attacked his master were from the nether realm. Although his master, Xing Xiaoyun, was as weak as a mortal, and did not give much guidance to Lin Ling back then, he had helped Lin Ling several times. Now that he had almost been killed, how could Lin Ling just stand by and watch? The demon sealer noticed Lin Ling's gaze and shrugged, I'm sorry, I really didn't know he was your master. If I did, I definitely wouldn't have killed him. At this point, he paused and continued, would have killed him immediately. His unbridled expression was on full display. It could be said that he was not afraid of Lin Ling at all, and he even made Lin Ling lose face. This also caused many experts to look at the demon sealer. They remembered that when they were in the ear ox cave, the demon sealer was not very strong. But now, his strength had clearly more than doubled. Lin Ling nodded and looked at the ox demon tribe. Earlier, I heard someone say that I was a thief, is that right? His gaze was like a torch in the eyes of the demons, and they didn't dare to look directly at Lin Ling. It was because Lin Ling had put too much pressure on the 72 caves back in the ear ox cave. That's right, I said that. However, the young master couldn't bear to be humiliated and shouted loudly. His father was beside him, so what was there to be afraid of? All right, I'll show you now whether I'm a thief or an upright person. Giant Ghost, God Emperor Zhang Gang, chop him up. Lin Ling shouted majestically. His voice sounded like a bugle horn, and all the gods' eyes narrowed. Back in the ear ox cave, Lin Ling had used the battle of the gods to steal the stone tablet. At that time, he didn't dare to face the gods. But now, he thought of himself as the king of the gods and dared to make a move in front of the gods. Roger. Giant Ghost and God Emperor Zhang Gang sneered and pounced over. You dare to touch the young master. Being bullied in front of everyone, the demons of the ear ox cave couldn't take it lying down. They all erupted with terrifying auras. They were left behind from the era of the gods, so how could they be afraid of some juniors of the current era? Get lost. At this time, Sakura, young Master Yao, and the others all made a move. They led the people of the God Slayer Alliance to block the demons. Upon closer inspection, other than the God Slayer Alliance, there were also the 9 Lanterns Fish, Lu Chen, and the former 12 martial gods of the 9 prefectures. In the past, these experts had to be looked up to by Lin Ling. But now, Lin Ling had surpassed them, and they were willing to stand behind Lin Ling and listen to Lin Ling's orders. Rumble. The God Slayer Alliance was no longer the same as before. Under Lin Ling's continuous bombardment of treasures, everyone's strength had greatly increased. They actually managed to block the attacks of the demons for a while. Of course, when the 72 cave masters saw that the situation wasn't right, they also made a move. But this time, Lei Gong's Hall also made a move. Compared to the God Slayer Alliance, Lei Gong's Hall's overall strength was undoubtedly stronger. Under the lead of young Lin, the 72 cave masters were also retreating. They were in a sorry state. Lin Ling, how awe-inspiring. Seeing the domineering battle in the Lei Gong's Hall, the Kurishin, Titanic Crescent God, and the others felt their blood boiling. This was especially so for the 3 spirits, Qing Mo, and the others. They were the most excited because Lin Ling used to be one of the 8 new gods of the 9 prefectures. But unknowingly, Lin Ling was not only above them, but also above them. He was now one of the 4 great gods of the 9 prefectures. Old Lei passing the Lei Gong's Hall to him was the best decision of his life. The Kurishin sighed. The Lei Gong's Hall under Lin Ling's command was undoubtedly 10 times stronger than the one under Lei Gong's command in the past. Say it, let's see if you still dare to say it. Today, I'll teach you how to be a human. Giant Ghost, is he even human? If he's a bull, then I'll teach him how to be a bull. With the help of the Lei Gong's Hall, Giant Ghost and the others reached the young master. Thump. The young master's legs went soft, and he fell to the ground in fright. His tall and sturdy body was now trembling. Back in the ox cave, he didn't see the power of the Lei Gong's Hall. But now, he knew that the damned Lin Ling had so many powerful subordinates. Looks like he's the biggest winner in the ox cave. He got countless treasures and groomed his subordinates. Of course, back in the 4th temple, he killed countless people and stole countless treasures. He killed many of our people. The gods in the distance had unsightly expressions. Through the Ox Devil clan, they also knew how powerful the Lei Gong's Hall was. Little Ox, why are you so flustered? Giant Ghost and the Celestial Crescent God walked toward the young master, who was so frightened that he kept crawling backward. He wanted to find help, but there was no one around to help him. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.